getting it, getting it. Ooh, 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 getting it, getting it. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah. That's just weird fucking sounds.
Just to get it,
get
pumped up.
Was he painfully coming? He might have been.
Getting it, getting it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. But,
is it recording? Yeah, let me try to get it. Getting it. Yeah.
Get it, get it.
The thought, it's in the red. We're getting it.
Okay, cool. We know we're there. We know we're there. We've made the technology work. It is now our bitch as we progress through another dimension. I was trying to have like some sci-fi music.
I was trying to think.
As the boys explore the sci-fi reaches of the world, where will they go this week? You look like you had something coming up for me, and I was like, oh, it's going to get exciting.
Well, no. As soon as you were talking about, like, great expansions of the sci-fi world, like, what wonder... You just froze, audio stopped, and then you pop up saying, you looked like you had something to say, but now you just look confused.
Well, you were just all looking... Maybe it's like, we got to do the old... Well, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes and see how the future takes us, but, till then, hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Rand Dunigan.
And it's almost like a very special podcast. Not only is it just 379, which to some people might just sound like a random number, but it just happens to fall into our 6-year anniversary of talking on the radio, as an internet radio, that is.
Oh, shit. This may make me seem totally unprepared. If we're doing Batman Year One, I thought that was this weekend.
Oh shit, you're not doing Batman Year One? This is Batman Year One.
I thought that we were doing that this weekend. I thought we were doing a casual and then Batman Year One.
Oh, no. I was like, oh, dude, I'll start Batman Year One. That's what I said on like Tuesday or whatever, or Monday even. I was preparing it super early.
Oh, well, happy anniversary. I forgot.
Shit. Yeah, well, because at first we were going to do a casual one, but that was like a couple days back, and then it's like, well, crap, now we're in our anniversary section. No reason to do the casual one. Let's just go straight to Batman Year One. At least that one's an easy movie to talk about if you haven't watched it yet. I mean, watched it again in years.
I've seen that movie a lot, and I know the book pretty well. It's one of those movies that's, I remember initially, when they were bringing out Batman Year One, my initial thought was, you know what? After Batman Begins, what's the point? Because it's just kind of a simplified version. Not saying that Year One isn't a good movie or isn't a good book, but it's one of those things of everything you could do, why that one? And then I watched it again, though, and the combination of the voice acting and the animation really stands out, but I think sometimes it's just fun to watch a simpler, smaller scale Batman story.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that. And before we really get too much into that one, I guess we can explain, like, for anybody who's, like, new to the Old Man Orange podcast, like, we started off 6 years ago with Batman. And that's why we're coming back around with Batman, because ours was Dark Knight Rises. And that's like, you know what? That movie came out then. We started a podcast, and, lo and behold, that's how you get the 379 episodes of pure magic. Well, I don't know if they're all pure magic, but, something like that.
Hit and miss. There's a couple magic dust. It's a little bit of magic dust in some of them.
So, as Batman being one of our main wheelhouse, granted, we're the guys who make Drunk Batman and Robin, too, if for anybody didn't know that either. But we're like, yeah, let's just do a Batman retrospect on some movie that we haven't done yet on the podcast. Like, what's an older movie we can kind of pull out and do it and go with it and so on. And I was like, yeah, let's do Batman Year One. Why not? But also, before we get really started, though, I have a couple shout-outs. One, remember Crescent City Monsters? I brought that up, 6 months ago or something like that. It's a comic book on web. Well, they finally got their Kickstarter going after, many a months or so. So they got physical copies and all kinds of stuff. I backed one of those so I could get a copy of it. But it's a totally awesome indie comic book with amazing artwork all about, voodoo monsters in, the 1950s era. Maybe 60s, actually. I'm not too sure. With kind of like a guy who's got a girlfriend, plays blues, and has to, save the world and so on. It's a book you should really pick up. Well, not the world, I guess. It expands probably as it goes on. It's just Louisiana at the moment, but you know how those things start. We saw that new Jurassic Park movie. It just starts off on a small island, and then next thing you know, they're everywhere.
Is this the one? Because you showed me some really cool artwork. You had a couple pages. They were black. It was black and white. They're these creepy looking snake monsters.
That's the one.
Yeah, that one looked really awesome.
And I was talking to Newt, and we're gonna try to see if we can do a podcast with him before his Kickstarter ends. Because I asked him like, "Hey, you want to do that?" I know I'm saying this on the air to you, but it's like maybe we can get one going pretty soon and help kind of spread the awareness. Because it's just an awesome book all around, and cool stuff like that I think is always fun to talk about. And yeah, just be awesome. It's a book that you can just go on to CrescentCityMonsters.com and find it. It's right on there and look at it and read it and everything like that. But you can get a physical copy if you want. If you type it in, go to Kickstarter or type in Dream Fury Comics and it'll pop all up on there. But totally awesome book. Just one of those ones I want to give the old shout out to that. Another shout I want to give is the guys who created Cosmic Star Heroine, that game I probably told you about last year. I know it's a long time ago, but it's finally coming out on the Switch. And the guy was like, "Hey, if somebody wants to do like some reviews and shout outs and promos and so on like that, like he's like, I'll pass you on a Steam or a Switch copy." I almost said Steam, but Switch copy of it. I'm like, hell yeah, I love that game so much. I'll keep talking about it, and I'll have it on the Switch too. So I wanted to make sure just to shout that out. I'm gonna try to do a little review on the website or something about it just to tell how awesome it is. But in the short and simple of it, it's a '90s RPG that has like a Sega CD sort of look to it and plays like a mix almost between Phantasy Star meets Chrono Trigger. It is pure RPG magic. I mean, unless you just hate old school games and things like that, there's no way you can't like it.
And what's the name of that game?
Cosmic Star Heroine.
Cosmic Star Heroine. I'm gonna look. That's coming to the Switch, or is it already on the Switch?
It should be coming on the Switch momentarily. It's on PS4, Xbox One, Steam, and all that jazz, Vita. And that's where I first got, was on PS4, and I played the living daylights out of that thing. And it's nice because it's not that long. It's like, took me like 12 hours to do everything. And
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, you know how it is when you become like an old man gamer. The shorter a game, like as a kid, if you got a game and it was only like 5 hours long, you would have been so pissed. As an adult, I'm like, oh, 5 hour game, that's awesome, a perfect kind of game for me.
Because you got shit to do, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that I've been looking for like a fun old school RPG, and a lot of the other RPGs out there look kind of even some of the retro ones, like, I don't know if this one's for me, but what you just described sounds pretty awesome. I might have to get that for the PS4, because my PS4 hasn't seen a whole lot of action other than Netflix lately. So my Switch, ironically enough, is getting more action than anything else right now. Yeah,
I mean, whatever system you get it for, you'll like this one. This one's actually one of those ones I think you would really enjoy it or so on. Like, I am playing the other one. It just came out, that Octopath Traveler by Square. And,
I heard good things about that.
Oh my god, it's like pure Final Fantasy magic. I mean, it's not Final Fantasy in the title, but like, it pretty much is. And it is all around awesome. It's like about probably the most dialed in RPG I've ever played. That along with Cosmic Star Heroine. That one's just as dialed in too. I'm just saying. But this one right here for a Square game, like, for the guys who've been doing RPGs for years, for them to get one just pure 100% dialed in, just all these little small things that you would never think about, just be like, oh, that's cool, that works, and so on. Game is amazing. And it's only on Switch, but boy, that's like game of the year, I think, for me. And I know there's big games coming out.
Frank Gross, who has been on here, like, he's been on whenever he had like a vampire special. He wrote Wolfgang Chronicles. He was posting about that, saying how much he loved it.
Yeah, I know. We've been talking back and forth on it and so on. Because it's kind of a cool game, because it's like you almost start off and you got 8 characters. And it's like you pick one character that you want to start with. And it's like wherever you start, that's where you go on the map. And then you kind of learn that character's story. And then you can kind of progress and find all the other characters and learn their stories. So you really could go in any direction you wanted to past the first character you get. So it reminds me like one of those kind of cool games, almost how I think of like Breath of the Wild, how this would have been the most ultimate like 1995 game before anybody really had internet, where you would have went home and played it, and then the next day you would have came back to school and be like, dude, what'd you do last night on the game?
Sounds pretty awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm going to get at. I'm still trying to finish up. I'm way behind. Not too long ago, I got the Link Between Worlds. I've just been cranking that thing out. So yeah.
Oh, that's a great that Zelda game's never talked about anymore, but that is such a good game. Just kind of got lost in time.
I know myself, if I buy more than like 2 games at a time, none of them will ever get finished. Plus, I also had to get the update for Sonic Mania Plus, so there's that.
Oh, I forgot about that. I didn't realize that there was that update that we all got.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check that one out too.
Been playing it through with Mighty. He's just kind of like a tougher version of Sonic at the end of the day.
Huh.
He can roll over spikes and not get hurt.
Well, that Octopath Traveler, I will say, is one of those games, though, where like it looks like it can be scary long, I'm thinking. Because I put like 12 hours in, and I'm only putting in like an hour or so a night, just right before I do like 8 to 9 o'clock. I'll play my game like a fucking, just get it all dialed in like a scheduled format. But I could see where that game could be one of those ones that you could probably put in like 40 hours. Because the game just, I kid you not, once you got past chapter 1 things, that game went hardcore difficult just like instantaneously. It would just be like, yeah, you know how to play the game now. We let you go through 10 hours figuring it out. By now you better know what the fuck you're doing, boy. Oh, okay. You said recommended level
Traveler.
22.
This is where you get your man card.
Yeah, it was just funny because it said like recommended level like 22. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. My characters are over that. I can handle that. It should have been like, oh yeah, we forgot. That's supposed to be recommended level 32. Sorry, our bad. It's like so difficult, some of those bosses. Like, dude, what the heck? But no, that thing's totally awesome. I recommend that one highly on the Switch, especially also along with Cosmic Star Heroine. A perfect double feature of a game. And then I got one more shout, but then we'll get to our episode. I know we've just been like shout out city here, but Chris the Mole Moleman's been on our show before. He's put together a radio station type thing of podcast called the Mole Hole Talk Radio.
Oh, awesome.
And our show's one of the ones that played today actually at 4 p.m. So it's probably wrapping up about right now as we're recording. And then I think our next episode plays in like 2 more days, but he's just got a bunch of podcasters and it just rotates 24/7 just episodes. And just got all kinds of stuff. God knows what episode it played from ours, but that could be a mixed bag for anybody just tuning in randomly.
Jeez. I really got to get back on Twitter. I'm so behind on this shit. I took a break for a long time. So much shit has happened. I got to get back. But
yeah, he just
I got to send him a thank you. I got to send a thank you to him for going out of his way and doing that and including us. That's so fucking awesome. We got to get him back on our show.
I know. Chris is just an awesome guy. I've been on his show twice, and it's just like, yeah, he's got to come back on. And I know we keep talking about it, that when we get closer to getting to 400, we're just going to get a bunch of special guests as much as we can and just do fun stuff. But Chris has definitely got to be one of them. But yeah, check out Mole Hole Talk Radio. I think if you just type that in, you can find it. It's kind of, I clicked on it earlier today, and it's just like it pops up like, the old-fashioned like radio stations online. And it's just like, just starts off wherever it is and it's going. And he's got a schedule on the website and everything so you can see whose episodes are coming up.
Yeah, none of this right here none of this what I'm about to say is set in stone. But before we get to 400, I'd like to get like Dave Razzie back on. I'd like to get Painted Black Guys back on because we haven't had them on since Billy has been a frequent member of the show. And also like to get on like some other like the Home Video Hustle guys. That'll be pretty awesome if we can get those guys.
Yeah, I know. And then we get like Wes from Via VHS.
Yeah, it'd be great to have him back on again. I'm just spitballing here. This isn't anything we've actually ironed out yet, but just names been tossed around. Like, it'd be fun to get these guys back.
I know, just to get kind of back in the groove of having some guests and so on. But yeah, other than that though, I guess what made this day going into Batman now is I just went down to the theaters and watched Batman 1989 in cinemas, and I've never seen that one before in cinema. So that was pretty magical all in itself. I don't know what it is. Every movie's always better on the big screen. It's just granted. You just get much more of an experience. And taking a movie that I already like, that I already grew up loving this whole time, that was awesome,
I'm going to admit something I probably shouldn't, but I feel like I should be honest here. When I was a kid, 89 was like one of those Batman movies that just fucking loved, because I was a kid. I just got introduced, like, it was just kind of like you're introduced. That's kind of what introduced me to superheroes, essentially. Like, who was that? That's Batman. Why is he dressed like that? He's a superhero. What's a superhero? A guy who is in a weird outfit and fights bad guys. That is awesome. And then as time went on,
what's a superpower? How about making you shut the fuck up, kid?
Like, all right.
I'm in.
With this fucking fist. And then, I kind of got more into Batman through. I mean, I really liked 89 Batman as a kid, but I kind of I leaned more towards all the animated stuff, all the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, all that that whole era. And as the movies went on, I still liked them, but my way in was 89. And I'm not going to lie, when we were coming up on Batman Begins, there is this period where I was granted I was in high school, so I was that shitty fucking, whatever man, that's the old Batman, look, he's killing people, Batman doesn't kill, Batman Begins totally got it. And in retrospect, I like Batman Begins more. Mm-hmm. That being said though, 89 really did lay a lot of the groundwork, and that movie is just really fun. It's one of those it went this period where people drug it to the mud a little bit, then they kind of brought it back up like, yo, I'm sorry about that. I was just trying to look cool for these guys over here. I'm really sorry. Can we still be friends?
It's the same thing that happened in the 80s to Adam West. They did the same thing to him. They like fucking drugged through the mud, kicked him in the balls, made him like punch, made him sleep naked with Burt Ward just for, effect.
Just like a point and laugh at him.
Yeah, just one of those like horrible things. And then next thing you know, it's like they pulled him back out around the 2000s, be like, dude, it's okay, man. You can come hang out with us again. And I think, granted, that's just kind of how things go. It's like something comes out and it's like the most amazing thing ever, and then it kind of dips down. And there's a point where people just start, I think you start getting people, and people, it kind of happens, you get in a band where you're like, well, man, it's not really the most perfect one. I think the flaws start to kind of poke out and so on. And people start to go, it wasn't the Batman from the comic books, and it wasn't this, and it wasn't that. And then they get too, like, almost hooked up on that. But then as it comes back around, I think it's like the classic nostalgia goes, you know what? For what it is, if you just take that story as is, it's an awesome movie. That's the thing. And for its time period and so on. And that's how I think people look at Batman 66. That's how people look at 89 Batman and so on. And I mean, like, we even saw a little bit of that happen when Batman v Superman came out. I saw some people kicking Christopher Nolan's ones in the balls. Not nearly as much, but there was people that were like, yeah, that's Ben Affleck Batman's so much better. You definitely didn't hear it nearly as much as the other ones, but there, once again, it happens. It's like once those movies went by, Dark Knight used to be like the pure perfect movie, but then all of a sudden there was somebody like, not that special. So there's always a new 13-year-old kid who's going to tell you that whatever you like is not that special.
There is going to come that point. I still say, I say this now, Batman Begins and Dark Knight are my two favorite live-action Batman movies. That being said, I think Affleck's a better Batman and a better Bruce Wayne. That's not saying Christian Bale did anything bad. Not at all. I just like that he went Frank Miller with it. I think that's cool. At the exact same time, though, I think Begins and Dark Knight are the best ones that are made live action so far. And that being said, though, I already said it's a later recording, folks, and I've been saying that last couple episodes, but they've been very late recordings. Anyway, regarding that, though, I think that 89 laid a lot of foreground, and when you just get a little further from it, I think people do take a step back, because suddenly, like, Dark Knight went from being the greatest movie ever made to just like 5, maybe 6 or 7 years later, people saying, alright, look, it was fun when it came out, but let's take a step back. So was Batman just waiting in the dark the whole time when he slammed Joker's head back there? Isn't that kind of a plot hole? It's like, Batman's fucking insane. He would do that.
Exactly, like... And that's what I mean, though. Like, we've gotten kind of to the nitpick era of, the Dark Knight series. So it's bound to kind of happen, But granted, give it about another 10 more years and it'll come back in full swing. And once you're kind of like a nostalgic memory and you're in like the 25-year-old like history book, it's almost like nobody really shits on you too much anymore. You're kind of golden from that point on for the rest of your life until people forget about you.
It fucked with me. Because I remember July 18th, aside from Batman, other shit happened in my life happened that day, so it kind of sticks out to me. So it's one of those things like, shit, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, for Dark Knight, isn't that weird?
For Dark Knight, July 18th, yeah, that was
10 years for that,
ago.
6 years ago for Dark Knight Rises.
It's just going to be, we're going to primarily focus on Batman Year One, but it's going to be a very Batman-centric episode here. So, that being said, I said this before on the show, one thing that really puts that in perspective of how long ago it was is I had a MySpace, and one of the things on the MySpace was a picture of Heath Ledger. Not for a profile picture, but a picture of Heath Ledger from Dark Knight, because you just post whatever random shit on there. So
here's another one that takes us back to that time period. We were shooting Drunk Batman and Robin, the original live-action video, and we shot it on cassette tapes. That's how you can kind of date that memory there. There were digital cassettes, granted, the little mini tapes, the mini DV ones, which were popular for a good 10 years plus.
Our whole thought process was get it out there and upload it before the movie comes out. That way, people would be looking up Batman and like, it'll shoot us to stardom if we get this out a few weeks before Dark Knight comes out. It doesn't matter. We have to get it out before Dark Knight.
And, well, Drunk Batman does have a couple 100,000 views, so granted, it's worked over time as a legacy.
I just look back at that movie. I'm just like, oh my god, that's what I. Because it was the first time we were shooting that. And I think our first, episode 50, we were like, oh wow, it's episode 50. Let's do an audio commentary for Drunk Batman, this movie that barely anybody has seen, but if they watch the show, maybe, or they listen to the show, maybe they'll go back and watch it, And I remember filming that, and, the first time I had a beard, and I'm doing that, I'm like, God, because the whole thing is, okay, I'm not going to shave for a while, Batman's going to be a wash-up, and as I'm doing this, like, God, I hate having a beard, I'm never going to have a beard again.
Like, now, lo and behold.
Sure enough, here I am.
I don't know what it is, it just feels it's easier to have a beard in life. I don't know, I'm just maybe a little bit lazy on that part, like, shaving's like a lot of work. I don't want
it's almost mainly not, it's shame that almost got me to have a beard, because I was talking to this one girl this one time, and she said to me,
she's like, I was watching this Drunk Batman last night, and if this guy had a beard in it, you wouldn't believe it, but that's the look I want.
I saw this guy in a Batman suit with a beard, I just wanted to fuck his brains out, like, oh, done. No. It wasn't actually even that so much, but kind of sort of in that wheelhouse. She was saying, like, oh yeah, I see you have a beard. I'm like, yeah, just, it's kind of, at this point, like, I've just been getting lazy lately. I just haven't been shaving. Like, oh, no, you should keep it. Like, oh, really? You think it looks good? Oh, yeah, it looks great. Like, girls like a guys with a beard. Because if you don't have a beard, you're just like some prepubescent asshole. I'm like, Jesus, fuck, all right. It flips so quickly.
Well, because remember, the Dark Knight time period, that was still, like, the emo age. So
no, this isn't even Dark Knight. This is, like, 3 years ago.
That's what I mean, though. But, like, during the Dark Knight era, though, we were still in the emo age. So it seemed like having a beard was like coming out of like 1985 almost. You know what I mean? At that time period.
It was like very popular not to be unmasculine, even though we were making a Batman movie.
Yeah, about Batman being drunk and punching people, but still, you know what I mean? It was that era. Like that was like the non-hair era. Was like the 2000s. You know, you the closer you could look like a 12-year-old boy as a 25-year-old man, you were living the dream.
If you look long enough, you can see some similarities between 80s and hair, like hair metal and emo shit. And people, I know hair metal people is like, shut the fuck up, you take that fucking back. Like, well, okay, well, let's kind of like hold them together. There's a couple of things right here.
They both got tight pants. They both like focus on their hair.
A lot of hair, focus on hair. Maybe it's not as long, but still focus on the hair. A lot of makeup.
I feel like the difference is that like the hair metal guys still act very manly. They just happen to have a female kind of look, where the emo guys had both a female kind of look and acted kind of feminine. I think that was sort of the difference. You know what I mean? Because you feel like David Lee Roth or whatever. Talk about, you got the most manliest man out there, doing backflips and stuff off his own bandmates and so on, swinging a sword around.
That being said, though, you still had a lot of girls like, oh my god, he's so cute. I wish I had nail polish like that.
Well, I think because they like the idea because they look like
oh
little,
my god, the simple little lip ring. Oh.
Remember how popular that was, too? The lip
ring. Yeah, I remember.
All of a sudden, you go to school and there'd be like 15 people just stand there with them. You're like, what the fuck?
Well, there'd be those kids that who totally did not even like emo shit, but they heard enough girls go like, oh my god, he looks so cute with black hair. And oh, I love the little lip ring he has. I'm like, I just suddenly watch guys change. Like, fuck! Like, all his friends be giving him shit. Like, whatever, dude, I'm getting blown later tonight, so fuck you.
Well, yeah, I gotta kiss like 3 guys before it, but it'll be worth it, damn it.
We have to make out and post a link to it on MySpace, but hey, fuck you, man. I'm getting some pussy at the end after I'm done sucking this dude off.
So weird to think that the bad boy image of, and this all ties to the Batman, it all still ties to it, but that bad boy image of like the 2000s was an emo guy. Like in the long run, that's going to be the bad boy of 2005 is an emo guy with a, the reverse mullet slinged over his like eyes, black hair, a little lip ring, tight pants that are kind of slouched down still. We still haven't left the 90s period yet. And, some kind of like t-shirt that's all talking about love and death all at the same time.
And they always had what we called the emo cum stain. So it'd just be like a splotch.
Oh, yeah, because
a random splotch of paint.
Just paint, just like across.
Yeah.
Especially when they were white, they just looked really weird.
They're usually like blue. So it's meant to look like ink. Whatever, dude. It's a cum splotch.
Yeah, exactly. That you just got cummed on, boy. I know what it is. Some Papa Smurf came by and got you.
It was always As They Lay Dying, or like The Used or some shit like that.
God, The Used. Remember how big of a band that fucking. When was the last time that you heard somebody mention The Used?
Actually, no joke. Like about a month ago, I was on a date a month ago and I heard someone mention that. So,
I just have that. Was
we're not dating anymore.
That was a band that was like ginormous when we were in high school, but like I just don't hear anything about that anymore. You probably pull up a 19-year-old on the side of the street and be like, "Yo, who's The Used?" They won't be able to tell you anything about that. Sir,
used DVD section? No, not that. I mean, you could probably find a used CD in a used section somewhere, but yeah.
You getting halfway there, I guess, but that's not what I was asking. But yeah, just all those weird things like that. It's an odd time.
What am I talking about? A kid's not going to know what a used CD section is.
Yeah, I don't know what you're bringing up even something that's even harder for him to understand.
Yeah, like what's used? I just buy all my shit online. Like I download it, I stream it. Like, all right.
It's just one of those things, but...
Unless it's like a Goodwill or some shit.
Yeah, and they want to feel like they're being hipsters or something. Like, yeah, I bought this from a man who died in his own urine, and I'm going to buy it. I'm hip like that.
I'm just in tune. Well, that sounds like a character from Batman Year One. Ah! Came around full circle. See
I know.
What we did there?
Boy, and watching Batman Year One again, because this is one of those Batman movies, like, in the back of my mind, I always kind of thought about Year One. It's never that I never enjoyed both Year One, the comic book, and the movie. It was always like, I looked at it as like, it's a very simplistic Batman story. Not bad, but simplistic. And I guess one of those ones when you're circling around things like Hush, or even Dark Knight Returns, or Batman, Long Halloween, and, you could go on and on with all just the different ones, or any, like, Neil Adams one or something like that. Year One just always comes across as like, it's kind of simplistic and so on. But I kid you not, in rewatching this one again, I'm like, no, this is just a really it's simple, but damn, is it not like an amazing Batman movie.
Shoot on sight! 12 years, and the ache is still fresh. Like a raw, angry nerve. This isn't about healing. I'm not looking for closure.
Well, it's also a James Gordon story more than anything else, but that doesn't take away from it by any means.
No, that almost kind of makes it kind of better almost, because it's just something different. It's not like your normal Batman story. Maybe that's kind of what it is. Like, maybe at first you kind of read it when you kind of compare it with all the other Batman stuff, it doesn't like catch on to you, but as like time goes on, you're like, no, that is a really cool, simple Batman and Jim Gordon story, and almost like just their kind of early relationship and kind of how it goes and how Jim Gordon came to town. The cops don't like appreciate him at first, and he kind of switches things around.
Well, what's interesting about that is that was just kind of this whole thing. That was still kind of like Batman's when they were still having continual Batman stories, and this isn't what Frank Miller did before Dark Knight Returns. He did this after Dark Knight Returns. Like, hey Frank, we really like that shit you did. We're thinking about doing a Batman, just retelling Batman's origin story in the middle of the run, because I want to say it's like it's really random number. I want to say it's somewhere in the like maybe 300s or 400s, just somewhere in the middle of that. And like it's kind of like I mean, I think it was meant to be. It's kind of like how it's like how Scott Snyder had went and told Batman's origins for 52. Like later down his line. That's even called Zero Year, so it's even kind of a reference to it in some way. But at that same time, though, it's just kind of like that, yeah, we don't want to have to, pull this whole thing aside. It's just part of the main continuity right now. Let's just continue the story forward. We're just going to have Batman flashing back to this, even though it's not treated like a flashback. It just, once the story's over, it just continues on with whatever Batman story was happening at that point. But looking back at that, though, it's one of those things where it just really stands out, because I think it felt like Taxi Driver.
Yeah, it does have a lot of that Taxi Driver kind of like gritty 70s kind of feel. And just like watching a guy kind of go through and trying to do the right thing. Both guys doing the right thing and having to deal with, the problems that's like in this town and the filth and all that stuff.
And Bryan Cranston does a great job as Commissioner Gordon in this. He's like a fantastic Gordon. And a lot of the small lines, like I didn't come in prepared because I thought we were doing this over like in a few days, but I still know this movie and the book well enough. There's like certain things where he just watches Flass beat the shit out of these couple of kids. And of course, Flass, being an Aryan guy, goes just to the one black kid in the group. It's like small little details like that get across. Like, he's like, hey, Jimmy, talk to your mom. Like, oh, shit, and just beats the shit out of this kid. It's one of those things where I'm just like, and it's like, this is the first time he sees, like, Flass. And he's like, hey,
he picked him up at like the train station. This is like, on the way back.
He's like, hey, he says, you mind calling me Jim? Oh, sure thing, Jimmy.
Yeah, he just doesn't really even listen to him and so on.
And then he beats the shit out of the kid. He's just like, don't do a damn thing. You know the situation. Make a note of it. Practice his style. You might need to know this later.
See, and this is the perfect example. This movie has all, like, the inner monologue stuff, and it's just kind of weird that, like, for some reason they didn't want to keep it in Dark Knight Returns, but it works 100%, and we're probably even awesome in this one. Yeah,
the inner monologue was something when Dark Knight Returns, when it first came out, I was really missing it. Like, what the fuck? Why would you take that out? But then I kind of got okay with it.
Well, it's still a really good movie, but I just feel that one little element, I think, would still just add that extra point to it, or even extra half a point.
Or if they had like some kind of like Blade Runner director's cut where they just added that in there.
Like the other way around. Like Blade Runner director's cut takes away the inner monologue, but they put it back in with the director's cut. That would just be kind of cool just to have, if anything.
One of the 45 director's cuts of Blade Runner.
Yeah.
That right there, well, something about this one, I think since it's such a toned-down story, you feel like you kind of need it a little bit more. Where Dark Knight Returns has so much going on, and Batman says a lot of the things out loud that he does, not to himself, like, it's not easy carrying 240 pounds of idiot to the top of a building. It's nothing like that. He doesn't say none of those lines. But a lot of the important things he would say in his monologue, he got across saying out loud. Like, this is what I want you to remember, Clark. My hands around your neck, like that kind of thing. But this right here, though, is an example where, oh, no, the whole noir monologue thing totally works.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm always a big fan of, like, the inner monologue stuff. I know some people have, like, it used to be like in the olden days, it was like bad taste to have inner monologue for some odd reason. I don't know. Once again, no different than like how like Batmans go in and out of favor. I feel like there was a period where like the inner monologue was looked at upon as like really bad storytelling. And I never could figure that one out. I always thought that was kind of dumb. Maybe there's just a lot of people that hated film noir for a while, and that was just not the cool thing to be into. So they just kind of like said, no, if you can't, speak it in action, don't speak it at all, kind of thing.
Well, I can think of some movies that I like that have the inner monologue where it seems kind of unnecessary. Not in all of it. Like, now, granted, I'm comparing Dark Knight Returns, one of the greatest comic books ever written, to a fun movie. So doesn't have as much stacked against it. But like Zombieland, for instance. Mm-hmm. Zombieland has some necessary inner monologue, but there are moments where it seems really forced and really hand-holding in the aspect, like, that's where I realize that guy in the cowboy hat holding a Twinkie there, and those two girls, they weren't just strangers, they were my new family. Something I always looked for. It's like, all right, whatever. Like, almost Michael Cera Luther.
Like, holds on it for a while.
Or just cut back to him. Like, I like to imagine while he's sitting there, it's kind of like, it's like, what you like, fucking, it's like, I like to imagine, like, while he's sitting there thinking this to himself, you cut back to them, like, why is he just fucking staring at us? It's like if you ever watch whatchamacallit, the Wonder Years without narration. It's like one of the funniest, most awkward things possible. It's just like him sitting at the dinner table like, David, would you pass the ketchup? Just him staring, looking at his mom. Cuts back to him, cuts back to her. They're just staring at each other. David, would you like some ketchup? Cuts back to him, cuts back to her. He just looks down, like not making eye contact with anybody. He just looks back. Yeah. It's like a 2-minute video.
Oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, inner monologue work. I mean, maybe for like comedies and stuff, it can depend. But even still, I can't think of too many comedies where it's like, I can't think of one where it's like, oh, the movie would be better if it didn't have it. There's not a single movie I can think about being like, unless for some reason the movie wasn't put together very well, I guess. But you know,
I'm trying to think of. There's another, like Zombieland's the one that came to mind, but I could think of some movies that probably where it's not necessary. They're kind of escaping me at the moment, but at the same time, I don't know. I can kind of go either way on it. Depends on the movie. Yeah. My favorite cut of Blade Runner is one without the monologue.
You've never seen the one with the monologue, though.
What?
You haven't seen the one with the monologue. You don't have it on your copy.
I've seen it, but I don't have it on my copy. It doesn't mean I haven't fucking seen it.
Oh.
I like the one without the monologue more, but it's not because of the lack of the monologue. I just like the pacing of that story more and the tone more.
Yeah, I like the one with the monologue way more because it's got different scenes in it and so on. But other than that, though, it's like I like both versions of Blade Runner. I've kind of gone back and forth just looking at them. And it's like, I mean, they're both good, but I think the monologue, it adds just some extra stuff in there that's not explained. It's like, if you want a movie that's not really explained nearly as much, I think the other one's kind of nice. But if you want just that little bit more detail into the world, I think the monologue comes in handy.
Well, that's what Frank Miller's, most of his monologues do. He always gives a lot of information you wouldn't know that's there, because I think that's the criticism that a lot of inner monologues have, where it's like, yeah, we can see that. You don't need to tell us that. Where Frank Miller, in his books, and in this movie it shows, there's a lot of things that you can, that's not said, that isn't really shown, so you have to say it. But it kind of works. Like, there's a part where he's watching, we're still at the first scene, where Gordon's watching Flash beat up this poor kid. And he says, I'm watching his movements. He's a Green Beret, you know? Or there's the part when Batman, when the Essen, is not Essen, is it Essen? Sarah Essen, yeah. Essen is trying to lure out Batman. He's like, yeah, she almost got me. They're baiting me. She's in heels. She knows how to walk in them. So few women these days know how to do that.
Yeah, so it's like, I like the narration. I think also Bryan Cranston kind of helps like top it all off throughout there. And I even like, you know, the voice of Batman. I know that like when it kind of came out, people didn't really like Ben McKenzie nearly much in this, and it's kind of funny because Ben McKenzie becomes
he's now Gordon.
Yeah, he becomes Commissioner Gordon in Gotham, and he's amazing Gordon in that one. But like, I always think his Batman kind of, it's different, and I know it's like because they were going for somebody younger, you know. And I think it was like at that time period, everybody was so used to Kevin Conroy that it was kind of like still slightly blasphemy to change it, even though technically the Batman was out around this time, I think, and there was some other Batman voices, but I think just for the most part, people just had a hard time like getting away, because I think this was the first one where it's like, oh, it doesn't have Kevin Conroy in it, other than like the Batman.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that Ben McKenzie does a great job. Plus, it's like a very different kind of Batman. This is a much more grounded in reality one. And this is definitely one of the main things that went on to inspire Batman Begins. But it's one of the biggest things about it, I think. I know I didn't notice it the first time reading the book. Watching the movie, though, I noticed a lot more how it's much more Commissioner Gordon's story. Because, you know, it's kind of funny because back when the story first came out, I want to say Scott Snyder was talking about this. He said that like he was afraid to make certain changes in his run of Batman. And he was like, man, I'm worried. I don't want to like destroy people's fandom or anything. Like, and somebody from DC pulled him aside, like, let me show you some shit. They went and pulled out some hate mail they had from years back. It's like, we just keep some of this shit around just to remind us why we made the right call. And some people sending hate letters to Frank Miller in DC for making Jim Gordon cheat on his wife. Jim Gordon would never cheat on his wife! And that's like one of the most beloved, favorite Batman origin stories ever.
Yeah, so it's like, granted, you're always gonna, like, no matter what, offend somebody, you know.
Mhm.
You know, there's probably Scott Snyder probably got a lot of hate mail for when they made Jim Gordon's son like a serial killer, you know.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. We never saw what fucking happened to that kid. I assumed that, you know,
Yeah, that's
like,
what happens when you don't see that kid when there's not a father around to watch him. He turns into a serial killer.
yeah, so we never saw what happened to little James. Like, oh, that's what happened to little James? Okay. So Batman, almost when Batman's like, man, I should have let that kid fall in the fucking mud.
Yeah, exactly. Shit. Why'd I save this kid? Just to like have him come murder a bunch more people.
Yeah. It's kind of sad when you think about that, but it's one of those the same times, though. It's just like, you know, because the whole time he's like, this is no place to raise a city. Yeah, no shit. You raise a serial killer, Jim.
He said no place to raise a city.
No place to raise a child.
It
Whatever.
reminds me like a guy said,
Fuck!
like,
Yeah.
like, well, that's good. I guess that's no different than like Superman having like the bottle city of Kandor. It's like, oh, raising my city, I tell ya. Hey, can we
He's
come
just
out
dropping
here?
like fish flakes in there.
Yeah, sprinkling it on there. He like puts a tablet in there, like when he knows he's gonna be gone for a week. But
He just like shakes it with like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
taps on the
You
glass.
hear a thousand tiny little screams all at once, just puts it back on the jar, like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. He turned the TV on for you.
Turns the nightlight on. Oh.
No place to raise a city. No place to raise a son. No place to raise a family. That's what he said. And when Batman comes back, I like that this is actually one of those things that's kind of interesting because Carmine Falcone, I think this is his creation. I think this is the first time Carmine Falcone came into it. And it's so crazy to me that Carmine Falcone, which was a character in this, was a much more he was there, he was talking some shit, but he just kind of in a couple of scenes. A little bit more of a prominent character in Long Halloween, and then, you know, I bet when Christopher Nolan was looking at Batman Begins, he's looking through that like, let's actually use a name. Carmine Falcone. Let's use that guy's name. You know, he's different from the book. We'll just use that name. Now that guy's a prominent character in Gotham.
Yeah, exactly. Like these characters have like, it's amazing. They're not that old, and it's like, boom, all of a sudden these things are like blown up as being like not just that character from a couple Batman books to now being like almost like a household name, like along with Two-Face, Joker, and Riddler, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just,
and I didn't read it, but in Batman Eternal, he's apparently the main villain.
Is he in part of that? That thing goes on for so long, so you know.
I didn't get a chance to read it yet, but I want to, and apparently he's the main villain of that.
That was just a book that was like, it just came out like every single week, and it was like, Jesus Christ, it's almost like it's not bad, but man, is there just like, no comic book should generally be coming out every week. That's a little too much.
It's hard to keep up with after a while.
Yeah, it's just almost overloading, unless that's one of the only books you're reading, I guess, but.
Yeah. And, but going from there, it just essentially becomes just Batman training. And what I like about this book is because we're usually used to seeing, in the comics as well as the cartoon at least, Batman good at his job. Once in a while, he'll, like, you know, get his ass kicked to whatever villain and realizes, oh, I actually found what Clayface's weakness is. It's this ice or whatever. This is actually the first time where you see Batman kind of get his ass kicked just by doing just small mistakes that I think anybody would have made in that situation if they didn't die beforehand. It's like the part when he comes across a couple of like assholes trying to steal TV, and then, you know, he comes in, one of them's about to fall off the ledge, he catches him, but as he's trying to pull his friend up, the other guy starts beating the fuck out of him, so Batman has to swing the guy, kick him, and he falls over, trembles down, he has to escape to another, like, a fire escape, and he's just beaten up. And there's a part, I remember when we first saw this, we rewinded it a couple times, we thought he's saying...
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was saying fucking amateur, but he was just saying amateur.
No, he says something else, because I remember watching it again, he says... He does say a word, but it just sounds so much like fucking amateur. Because at first I was like, oh my god, they're breaking new grounds in these DCU movies here. They got the first F-bomb, because it's like, that's almost how it was. As you
Lucky amateur. I think it's
Lucky amateur, that's what it was. And, yeah, it just was one, but the way he says it, it just comes across like that. It's like, is that what he said? Come on. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's just like, I like watching that where just Batman's like, he's almost like learning how to properly like fight and just like letting these circumstances happen and like what you're going to do. It's funny, going back to like watching 1989 Batman, there's a part where like Batman and Vicky Vale are escaping in the Batmobile, and then they stop, and then he grappling hooks up, and then he lets Vicky Vale continue on up there. It's the part where he goes like, "How much do you weigh?" You know? And then when Batman comes back down, though, he has like the most like terrible, like uncoordinated fall. He like falls down like a bunch of trash, just like doesn't even land on his feet, and then the guys just start like kicking him. It's just like God, like almost like he's never practiced a landing. I don't know why. Like, who decided? Like, you know what? Batman should just fall like on. This sounds so weird, but you remember like when we were shooting our kung fu movie way back in the day, and Max jumped off like those big old metal crates, and for some reason it was like a one-story jump, but he should just landed on his feet, but he jumped off and just instantly landed on his back. That was
he found a way.
Yeah, that was like how Batman landed. Like he's coming straight down with his feet in the shot above, and then all of a sudden it's like he's on his back, like oh.
That's like his X-Men power. He can defy gravity, not like as in flying, but just kind of like, oh, I can pull this move off real quick.
Yeah, I feel like that was almost the Tim Burton way of Batman, is that he's got this armor on, so he can kind of like, he's not really like, he's a little bit clumsy and so on, so he can kind of just take bullets and like fall down, but then still get back up and kick ass.
Well, I feel like most interpretations of Batman, all movie live action versions, he's always been a little toned back, and he's always been a guy who, even if he's good at it and he knows what he's doing, he still has a little bit of just Batman's not who he is first and foremost, where this feels like a guy, year one feels like a guy who Batman is who he's first and foremost, but Batman himself is trying to get used to it.
And I think another thing sometimes the movies kind of do is they focus more on Batman's gadgets and like equipment more than like Batman's almost like ninja-like skills. Where in like the comic book, it's more like he doesn't, you know, he has gadgets, but like he doesn't really necessarily rely on them. They're just more like a bonus. And, you know, he doesn't really, and especially in the older books, he doesn't have armor and stuff too much in him. It's like, you know, more it's like he's wearing a ninja suit.
Yeah. It's one of those things where this right here, it still feels like, because I even kind of liked some of the things they have. This part was actually kind of added for the movie. I don't remember this part being in the book as much. But it's like how Bruce had, like when they invite, like we think, we found some Bruce Wayne's DNA at the crime scene. We have to go and visit him. And he's like all acting hungover. He has like a hooker over with him. He's like, hope you don't mind. He like, you know, showing off his balls to Mrs. Gordon as he adjusts his legs. And he's all like, hope you don't mind my friend here. I'd tell her name, but I don't even know if she speaks fucking English, you know. And then she's all like licking his face as he's talking to him, like it's no big deal. And then as Gordon leaves, that lady's like, you guys are like so weird. You're not even drinking. You're just drinking apple juice the whole time. You want me to just hang out? What's your deal? It's like, what are you complaining about? Easiest $5,000 you ever made.
Yeah, now get the fuck out of here. Sure, the door doesn't hit you on the way out.
Alfred, show her to the dead hooker pile. Well, Batman needs an outlet.
Yeah, and don't give her $5,000. You're not getting that. What? It's like just like Alfred pulls like a lever, and just like all of a sudden she like slides down this slide like Pee Wee Herman style.
Down this H.H. Holmes like death trap. Yeah, Batman has a murder house after the Wayne Manor. He says hookers only have half a soul.
Yeah, it's like Batman's like, it's okay. They're not real people, just like Martian Manhunter's like family.
He's not easy. You just gotta put a couple of candles around him.
I like the part too because Batman's like looking out like at Jim Gordon. He's like, he's been parked out there for 10 minutes. What's he doing? He's on to me, Alfred. Damn it, he knew it. Damn it, we didn't do it good enough. Starts like slapping.
Close the gate in. We have to kill him, Alfred.
Get the rocket launcher out, Alfred. But sir, you said you weren't going to use weapons. Fuck it.
You are! Get your old MI6 shit! Batman can't kill!
Yeah.
It doesn't say nothing about his butler can't kill! Why do you think I pay you the big bucks?
Yeah. Oh, they're taking off. It's okay, Alfred. I guess we're good. We're golden.
What are you doing with your MI6 shit? Put it back. Shit.
I don't know. Maybe she just kind of got turned on by looking at my balls, and they just thought that they couldn't make it past the gate. They had to just stop right there.
Maybe you almost got him into a three-way. Fuck.
Shit.
Is that hooker still alive, or did we kill her already?
Oh, she's dead, sir. Oh.
Alright, next time. Fuck. Alright. I'll go spill my blood again. Maybe he'll bring his wife back again with him this time. Hey, honey, I know you liked him so much the first time.
And I will say, like, I actually kind of like this sounds weird, but like even like, you know, like Commissioner Gordon has that affair, and that's the part where he's like explains it to her. It's like, I gotta tell her this. But what I like about that is it's almost like the example of that is sort of, because I feel like you see a lot of people, I guess when you get older, you start seeing more and more people kind of getting into this predicament where like they get into relationships with people that they pretty much not really have enough things in common, but it's maybe all they knew at the time. But then all of a sudden you see, oh, they finally found the person who's like identical to them. And that's almost like what's her name?
Sarah Essen.
Essen, yeah. And you realize that Sarah and Commissioner Gordon are like totally compatible, but now it's too late for Commissioner Gordon because he didn't wait long enough, and it's that weird like kind of conundrum of like, what do you do in life? Do you take the person that you're actually really compatible with, or you stay with the person that you already have? It's like one of those like tough questions, but it goes to show that like that's what happens to a lot of people.
Well, in the comics, what happened here is he's with Sarah Essen in Dark Knight Returns. Now that's a parallel universe thing, but at the exact same time, though, I think it's one of those things like Sarah. I want to say at one point in the comics, his main wife, I think she's actually dead. I want to say the wife he's with in this, because year one, I mean, the continuity and the story is always changing. Whenever somebody does something, the reverse time, they'll keep inserting key points, but other things change. I want to say at one point Joker killed his wife, and his wife was also a cop. At another point, I think that maybe she died shortly after Barbara was born, or maybe she divorced him. Because I want to say, currently, right now in the series, Jim Gordon's a single dad. So
yeah, and for me, like as far as Batman kind of comics go and so on, to me, I never look at any story as being like this is 100% in stone. This is like what it is. To me, they're all sort of like slight variations of each other that can kind of intermingle back and forth. And that's why I almost like comic books more when like they don't like stick to like such serial storytelling, like that they just go like here's an arc of 6 or 12 issues and then we go on to another arc. And yeah, they could kind of combine back to each other, but they're not super like so connected that they have to be like, no, this is how history works, don't change it now.
Yeah, and regardless of however much things they change, they make this scene alone right here is what makes Jim Gordon such a badass character in so many ways. After they beat the fuck out of Jim for not kind of going by the rules, because at some point that Flash is talking to Commissioner Loeb saying that's where he takes the money. He refuses the money from the Padre and starts going a whole lecture about ethics to everybody in the whole fucking unit. I tell you, he's a shame, man. He's a shame. He's gonna make it hard for us. He says, looks like we gotta do what we gotta do. They beat the shit out of him, and he knows who they all are, even though they got masks. And the part when they totally get across who Flash is. He's some asshole well into his 30s, still wearing his fucking football Letterman's jersey.
High school.
And yeah. And he's like coming back from like a poker game, just wasted. It's snowing. Jim, after getting beaten the fuck out of him, just gets in his car, rams him off the road. And this part with the inner monologue is pretty awesome. He says, because they get across that Jim served also. Because this book takes place in the 80s. I don't think
Flash served.
Flash served.
Did he?
Flash served. He said he was a Green Beret.
Oh, huh. I didn't think it mentioned that. I thought because it said that Jim was, but
he said. I want to say he said it was a Green Beret because I want to say Jim says something to the left. Maybe you saw it more recently than I did, but he says something to the effect of like, he gets out of the car. He's pointing a gun at him. He says, "It's been a while since I fought a Green Beret. Even still, he deserves a handicap."
Oh yeah,
and he throws him the baseball bat. Yeah, he throws him the baseball bat, then puts the gun, and then he just beats the fuck out of him and just leaves him handcuffed, naked in the snow.
Yeah, and it's just like the thing with the inner monologue. Once again, I think makes total sense. It's just like he won't tell anybody. There's no way he'll make up some story that he was like attacked by 10 different guys or something like that.
Yeah,
but he'll know his place now, and he won't harm my family.
Yeah,
and that's the thing I like about it. I love that kind of like mentality of like because that to me is like so old world. Like you would never see stuff like that nowadays. Because nowadays it's all about telling on people and using your yard duty and so on. But sometimes I feel like, just like even with like children and so on like that, like a good beating sometimes needs to be in order. Like literally, it's like one of those ones. If you're getting bullied, if you go and beat the fuck out of that person, believe me, they will. That almost like shows more respect. That's how nature fucking works. But people want to like defy nature for some reason nowadays in this PC culture. And no, sometimes you do have to go and just like fucking whoop someone's ass just to be a proof point. Hopefully you never have to in life, but there might come that time that you might need to, and that's sometimes the only way. And people don't understand that, but that's how you defeat kind of bullies, is you have to like bully them back, but bully them harder so that they stop.
Yeah, it's one of those things. There's that whole eye for an eye leaves the world blind. Like, well, it depends on your situation right there.
And that's more
and
like,
that
I
kind
think,
of thing.
when it comes to like, you literally you're not taking the guy's eye out. You're just like beating him up, roughing him down.
I know that, but I'm just talking about, that whole sense of revenge or whatever.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is, it's more of one of those things where it depends on the person you're dealing with. That whole kind of like, if you kill him, you're just, even if you kill him, but if you go against him, you're just as bad as him. No, I'm not. Like, that's one of those things that always annoys me in movies. Like, it depends on the situation. It's one of those things like, it's like, whenever like some guy like had like, who's a good guy who had his family killed in a movie, and he gets to the bad guy, he has his gun pointed at the bad guy. He's like, if you kill him, you're just as bad as him. Actually, no, I'm not. He went and killed innocent people. He's a bad guy. So,
if I don't kill him, he's gonna kill more innocent people. Do you understand this? Like, I get the kind of concept when it comes down to, like, revenge, like, almost like when you don't really know what it is, but you don't want to waste your whole life, like, focused on revenge to find, like, something, and would it pay off? Like, I get that, but a lot of times it's, like, one of those ones, like, and that revenge is a little bit different than, like, this is, like, almost bullying, it's in the sense, and that's kind of what Jim Gordon's doing. He's getting bullied for being the guy doing the right thing, and that sometimes is where, like, no, you do gotta, like, stand up, and it's not... I don't consider that necessarily revenge. I guess somebody could like weave it into that, but
when you beat the fuck out of them and they kind of leave you out, they leave you down, and they say like, "What could happen to your families?" It's like, "Oh, really, motherfucker? All right, we'll do this dance."
Yeah. So it's more in the bully category. It's not like more like you're gonna go out and like avenge your like family's murder or something like that. I feel like that's a little bit different. I mean, I know it
could be. It could be. I mean, he's avenging, making sure these motherfuckers don't keep this shit up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's not like nobody got murdered yet.
Nobody got murdered, but they beat I'm going to say, if they beat the fuck out of you, and you go, okay, I'll do this shit too, and you go beat the fuck out of them right back, that can be called bullying. I think it could also be vengeance in that case.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's the same category, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that, like, I feel like it's in that bullying kind of, like, way, because they're working together. It's, like, almost like...
It's more
it's
setting...
Almost, it's more like adult school chums, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's almost kind of like... It is kind of weird how much of, like... Even in like in adult life, like not to that level, but there's still some of that shit people still have, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah, the downfall though is like a lot of times for a lot of people nowadays, it's like if you were the guy that went and beat up Flask, to prevent that, they would throw you in jail, which is like the most fucked up thing, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, not even so much in just that, but I mean just the whole. Well, yeah, that's definitely the case. But like, could you prove it? You can't prove it. I don't know, because, Flash would definitely tell, more than likely. He doesn't, obviously, because he says, it would have been 10 or 12 guys. But this day and age, I think PC Flash probably would have.
Yeah, PC Flash totally would have. But, like, I think at this time period, this is still, like, 80s, like,
80s, yeah.
80s, like, mentality of, like, no, he's not going to... Because everybody would think he's a pussy from that point on if he told on people. See, nowadays, telling on people, nobody has that kind of, like, mentality anymore where it's like... I just think being a kid, like, if you went and told the yard duty, that was, like, the worst thing you could possibly do. That just, like, almost, like, is, like, child manliness. You pretty much just dropped on the totem pole. You were, like, bottom rung if you went and told on the yard duty. The yard duty was your enemy, oddly enough. I don't know why this it was, like, primal instincts. Like, nobody told you this. But you knew that you could not, under any circumstances, do that. Maybe you go tell your buds, you get your gang together... That's one thing, but you do not bring in the man into your problems. Which is always, it was never a man, it was always a woman who was very manly.
Maybe she had like a butch haircut or something.
That's always how yard duties were. They always had like sunglasses on, and they're just kind of like slightly overweight, but they still look like they could like pick a log up and chuck it. you know that kind of look, like she looks like she could probably, almost change a tire with one arm.
I'm just imagining just kind of like, some kids like out in the playground, one's on a skateboard going by, like California Love by Tupac is playing, like making slow eye contact with a yard duty, just giving like a dirty look. He just like nods, like, what's up? Just keeps on going. It's like, that's the enemy. You don't ever go to the enemy.
Well, because I think it's one, because then you always see the kids like, oh, yard duty, they're making fun of me. It's almost like that kid will only get more bullied. He is only asking for more bullying by talking to that yard duty.
Yeah. Was that Simpsons bit like what was it? Like it was like Waylon Willie or something like that. And he's like Fat Tony's like, who could have possibly lied? Was it Slim Jimmy? Big Bobby? Waylon Willie? Like, they made me do it! Like, oh yeah, it was Waylon Willie. And then at some point they cut to a joke later, they're just beating the fuck at him. Like, you're gonna keep squealing, Willie? You're gonna keep squealing, Willie? He's like, Johnny's middle name is Francis. You just don't get it, do ya?
And that's totally it. That kid back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, you never want to be that kid. I don't care how old you get in life. You never want to be that person. But nowadays, it's almost accepted to be that person.
Yeah,
it's weird how that is. We used to shun that person, and now we accept that person. Jim Gordon was never that person. He was all man.
He was all man. He took it in. He just like says, "We're gonna beat the fuck." Actually, he's like, "I'm just beat the fuck out of this guy with my bare hands, leave him out in the snow."
Gonna rape.
Yeah,
just leave him here. Let the raccoons
jam that baseball bat up his ass.
Let the raccoons Facebook him.
His greatest fear, I read his diary. He's not that much of a man. He has a diary. He left it right in the dashboard of the fucking cop car.
I'm gonna sprinkle some animal crackers out around his face.
I had to dream again.
I'm gonna stick gummy bears in his ears so he won't know they're coming.
To bring a bear, may throw some Nutella up his ass. No, it doesn't make me gay.
Just gonna draw signs on his back with honey. Like, Jim, I think you went a little too far. Fuck it. He had 8 guys come by and beat me up. I'm not taking it that far now.
This guy's gonna like get gang banged by 8 different animals.
I'm making sure he really doesn't tell.
I'm up in the ante. If he can top this, I welcome it.
I guess that's the only other fear, though, is if somebody comes back like twice as like enraged almost. Because that's almost, I think, also where that, like, the eye for an eye thing is where, like, if it keeps going back and forth, and the next thing you know, you're just a bunch of guys just fucking mangled up.
If it goes to, fantastic movie, we never did a retrospect on it. If it goes into I Saw the Devil, where by letting the guy live, he kind of creates more problems for himself.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example of almost that. But yeah. Jim Gordon does that, and then, he gets a couple other points, too, because obviously none of the cops like him. The commissioner doesn't like him, but he's doing always the right thing, and that's the problem, though. He's, like, almost exposing these cops for, like, their bad ways, if they, taking drug money and all that kind of things.
Something I like about, I don't really like the commissioner Loeb at all. I don't like him at all, but I think what they did interesting thing, they could have made him kind of like a man's man, kind of like, oh, get on over here, don't worry about it, they're just some good old boys doing what they do. You just gotta let them, slide by. Don't fucking look into it.
Yeah, boys will
where
be boys.
This one, where he's not even, he has, like, kind of that, he has that thought process, but he doesn't have that. He has this kind of, kind of like that, oh, he's that one teacher who has all, like, the cartoon characters all over his classroom, and he doesn't take the job that seriously, so he's, like, one of those guys who seems very, unintimidating, because, like, all his, they can't really show it as much in the movie, because, they're all licensed characters and all that, but I guess it's easier to get across through illustrations, like, vaguely, because he had, like, a bunch of Charlie Brown, Mickey Mouse type stuff all over his office, and just, like, that's the police commissioner? Yeah, he's the chill guy, he's always eating candy, and he's corrupt as fuck, but he just has that old, like, oh, don't you boys worry about that, you just do what you do, I like what you guys are doing. He never really brings it in too hard, and the second, Gordon starts digging, that's where Loeb starts to get a little bit more, like, pushing back, which that's another example of, like, got this name, Commissioner Loeb, and then that's where, once again, Christopher Nolan was making a movie, he's like, what's the commissioner's name in this one? Loeb? Well, he's going to look totally different. He's not going to be this old, shriveled up white dude. We'll make him a black guy, but, he's going to be, a guy who butts heads with Gordon. And then after that, they make Gotham, and Loeb is there again. So it's one of these things, like, Jesus, some of the things this book sets up that kind of happen later down the line.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's kind of funny, because think about it, like, he's a man in the 80s who's fucking collecting, like, collectible. It's almost like somebody getting action figures at that time period. That is like such an unheard of thing to do, is like an older gentleman like collecting toys in a sense. Because only recently has that become accepted.
Recently, but plus it's also one of those things, I mean, I'm not going to dock anyone for liking Disney or Charlie Brown shit or anything like that, but all the things he was collecting were strictly just like,
His childhood.
Definitely his childhood. But I'm looking at I'm looking at the shelf to the right of me. That's my childhood, but most of it's for like Batman. So it's like, that's
you
different.
Turn and you look in the mirror, you're like, no. And next thing you know, you're Commissioner Loeb. Like, it led me down the wrong path.
It ain't that. Well, I guess it's one of those things. It's just a little bit more. It's not as weird now to see someone in their 20s or even their 30s with action figures on a shelf or something. Oh, they collect this. But I guess you're right. Back in the 80s, it would have been more weird, especially since they weren't like, I guess in my opinion, mostly action-based or adventure stories. They're like, oh, Mickey Mouse or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you think about it, once again, it wasn't until recently that it's been like okay to sort of have stuff on your shelf. Because before, it's almost like we've been ridiculed. Be like,
there's a place of work.
Yeah, or that'd be like, what are you, a fucking child? Like, get that out of here. You know what I mean? Go play with your diaper somewhere else. You would have just been laughed at and kicked out on the street. Maybe if you had one, you could probably get away with like one like Superman statue or something. Like, nobody's gonna dock you for that. But if you had a bunch of action figures, it'd be like, what are you, like 6 years old? What are you doing, man?
Back then.
It's probably like the Loeb, like, if you went back in time, it's like, Daddy, can I have that toy there? No, but you're going to be a man. You're going to get a job at the factory and work your way up to becoming a commissioner because the factory leads to everything good, damn it. Here, take this beer. I'm going to be a man. But, Daddy, I want the toy. No son of mine's ever going to have toys. No son of mine.
I'm gonna beat the British out of you, too.
Yeah, I don't know where this little British boy accent's coming from. You live in America, damn it. But grandfather talks like this.
We don't speak of him.
We don't speak of him.
He talks that son of a bitch.
That's why we send him back. When people are coming here on this ship, we send him back like a return package. All of a sudden, he gets 85 years ago, and all his Americanness that he changed around to become went revoked back to being English. The whole point we're trying to get away from, damn it.
Let him go back to the Queen. I want to see the Queen. Yeah, I fucking bet you do.
Yeah, you little queenie.
Father, that's not nice.
The world ain't nice, boy. Now get to work so I don't have to.
Go commission something. Commission me some pride, which I got none right now.
But I bet you there is, like, and I don't know if anybody's ever done a backstory on Commissioner Loeb and, like, why he has all those toys, but I bet you there's something,
I doubt he does.
There's something built up in there, like, psychological, of why a man in the 80s would have all that kind of stuff.
I think it was more than anything just a lack of professionalism. I think that's all Frank Miller was trying to get along.
Well, probably because he had that type of, like, look at this guy, he's got a bunch of toys, he's like an overgrown child.
Then you see, like, Frank Miller's office. He has a bunch of, like, statues of Marv from Sin City and Batman.
It's kind of like that thing where it's like, oh, what's he doing? He's reading a comic book? Oh, that's because he's retarded. That's why he's reading a comic book. He probably's only looking at the pictures. That was another one, too, that only recently has that finally kind of went away, too. Because even in the 90s, that stereotype still existed.
Oh, yeah. No, somebody was surprised. I told him I wasn't trying to, like, convert them into comics or anything, but people were surprised to find out that, like, one of the Robins were killed with a fucking crowbar, and that, like, how violent shit gets sometimes. Like, oh man, that Batman v Superman, I mean, I liked it, but it was darker than I thought it would be. Like, dude, that movie's got nothing on the fucking comics. Like, no, like, well, I'm gonna show you my fucking shelf.
Well, I think that's where they're, like, really like that new Titans one. They're really trying to get people believing that DC is as R as can be. And maybe that's, like, the new DC plan. It's like, let's just make it feel hardcore dark. That's the only way we're going to become different from Marvel. Because that one just starts out as just, like, Robin's just, like, beating people up. Blood's going everywhere. Like, yeah, fuck Batman.
Doesn't he shoot a guy or something?
Yeah, he shoot a guy. I think he, like, throws a batarang or shoots, like, a
grappler. He stabs a guy in the side of the neck and, like, stomps on the side of a guy's skull or some shit.
Yeah, it's like they're really trying to amp that up. Like it doesn't bother me, but, like, I know some people are like, why is it getting so dark? It's just like...
Here's my thing. It's not one of those things like, oh, I'm so offended, because there's plenty of different these characters have been around for so long. You can play around with different variations. My thing is, it does to me seem excessively dark, just because Teen Titans has always been that middle ground. I think you go dark with Batman, you go dark with Swamp Thing, you go dark with Lobo,
and Green Arrow.
Yeah, Green Arrow. I think Green Arrow can go either way.
Well, Green Arrow was the guy who went
Green
rated
Arrow.
R before everybody else did.
Yeah, his 80s stuff. I mean, my favorite Green Arrow stuff is 80s, but it didn't really, even like that Mike Grell Green Arrow shit.
Yeah.
Even though that is rated R, it doesn't have this very Dark Knight-ish, lot of blue tones, wet cement kind of look.
Well, it's because Ollie's still optimistic. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, it still had its optimistic tone, but there was some heavier, darker shit going on. He's dealing with a crazy a Nom vet who's having like PTSD and all that. So it's one of those things that like, so when you get to something like Titans, to me, Teen Titans would get dark sometimes, but it always walked this middle ground between lighthearted story and then dark shit. I'm not just going off the comic book. I think that I'm just going off the cartoon. The comic book, from what I did read, did walk a good middle ground.
I was just picturing like Teen Titans Go. Just be like, you watch one episode, it's all happy and fun. The next thing you know, it just be like, oh my god, somebody died. Like, what's going to be like? What if they just kind of do that every once in a while? Just go super dark. Like, next thing you know, like, oh my.
There's an episode I was watching with my nephew one time, and there's an episode where like they bump shoulders with members of Young Justice, and they're totally different animation style. And they're just like, oh, hey, Young Justice, how's it going? He's just like, oh, yeah, it's you guys. Like, no, we're superheroes too. Like, oh, really? What do you guys do? You guys have dance-offs? You just, like, always argue what you like more? Like, burgers or burritos? Like, you guys aren't superheroes. You gotta be just a little bit more serious, all right? Then all of a sudden they do this thing where they just, like, start flexing. Like, Robin gets a 5 o'clock shadow. Their animation changes. They're all bulky. They're all, like, just, we're so serious.
Like
they're always, like,
Frank
gritting their
Miller-ish.
teeth. Yeah, like very Frank Miller-ish. Like, here's one of the things with that show. That show, it's half and half with me. Half the times I see it, it's like, it's whatever. It's kind of loud and obnoxious. Other half the times, though, like, oh, that was actually kind of funny. This one, where they were doing that, and they're just like, there's a part like where they bump shoulders with Young Justice again, like, oh, yeah, you guys did nice work out there, but we see you guys got more serious, but is it too serious? And Cyborg's like, too serious? You don't understand what it's like dealing with the duality of being half man, half machine, two voices in your head all the time. Like, all right, cool. Just like, so it's like they're kind of like Teen Titans Go is making fun of the very fucking thing Titans is doing right now, which the thing everybody hates is, kind of made a better point of what the thing. I mean, who knows? Maybe Titans will be really good. I hope.
I think it's just. I think the trailer's more just trying to push the darkness in it. I think the show itself will probably be a little bit darker than I would say like Arrow and Flash and that kind of world. But it might be like Gotham cranked up just a little bit more because that's how Gotham is. Gotham's really dark. It's just mixed with a little bit of wackiness at the same time too. And I mean, it's on Fox, so you can only go so far. Where this thing's on like the DCU channel. Or the app thing. So I feel like they'd be like, whatever, we could do whatever we want.
I mean, I'll be getting that just because Young Justice Season 3 comes out on it, so there you go.
Yeah, I heard that.
So I'll be getting it, so I might as well.
I'm like, that's pretty cool. Mine's are those ones like, do we just wait till all that stuff finally comes out? Because I feel like if you went out and got it right now, it's just be like a bunch of stuff that I already own. You know what I mean? Be like, oh,
yeah,
well, what do we get this month? Well, here you go. Here's a Hush digital copy. Well, I have that book. Oh, well, hold on a second there. Here's some Batman the Animated Series. Well, I have that on DVD. Oh, wait a second. Christopher Reeve's Superman. Like, well, I got those on DVD too. Shit.
Swamp Thing?
Is it out yet? Oh no, not yet.
Well, no, like the old 80 Swamp Thing by
Oh, I have that on DVD somewhere too. The Wes Craven one.
Wes Craven.
I don't have number 2 though, so if you put number 2 on there, maybe. But
how about Constantine, the Keanu Reeves one?
I got that on DVD too. Fuck, why has he got everything on DVD? Well, I really like DC, but like, well, if you really like DC, why don't you get the app? But it's like, well, I want to get the app, but it says I need something new that I don't already have.
You know what? I actually just kind of, because it's one of those things you can't pay it by month. You have to pay it annually, so like $70 or $80.
You can pay $7.99 a month.
No, I heard you have to, if you want it, you have to pay like for the whole year. Like I heard you have to pay up front for it.
No,
like,
it's got $7.99, or if you pay the whole year, you get like a 25% discount or a 20% discount.
Okay. Well,
so it's almost worth just getting the year if you just knew you were gonna, if there's a show you wanted. But
let me just finish up a quick thing on Titans and that. It's just one of those things. I don't know. How do you make a dark, gritty version of Hawk and Dove? Hawk and Dove are on the team. Just like, how can I take these motherfuckers seriously? I can't fucking take Hawk and Dove fucking seriously. You have a part where one of them spreads their wings and cuts some guy's Achilles heel. I don't give a shit. You could have one just like chugging a beer, punch another guy in the fucking face while Metallica fucking plays. I can't take Hawk and Dove fucking seriously. So now you're gonna put them in this dark, gritty show and expect me to go like, oh wow, they're such tortured souls. I don't. It's really. I guess the thing about Titans is it just looks like it's trying to walk this line between being all CW-ish, being kind of all teen angsty, but then trying to go like Marvel Netflix, where it's all like suddenly all like bloody and violent. So I want the show to be good. I'm gonna hope it's gonna be good. I just don't have high hopes for it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
Robin looks cool.
Yeah, Robin looks badass. It looks cool to me. I mean, like, you know, Teen Titans isn't like totally like it never really sells for me. Teen Titans, like, it's not that I dislike Teen Titans, but I think it's once again once you're not a teenager, it's like Teen Titans is a little bit hard to relate to. I know some people think the world of like, you know, the original Teen Titans animated show. And I mean, I understand because I think the world of the original Batman the Animated Series, so I guess to each their own like decade, but it is one of those ones where it's like, you know, it's like that Teen Titans Go movie. I'm going to go see that, but I'm going to see Mission Impossible first because I guess I'm an adult.
Priorities.
Yeah, you know, but other than that, I'm still going to see it like the next day, and you know, but the Titans show does look interesting. I mean, I'll say this, I have pretty much jumped off the bandwagon of all the other shows, not saying that they're not good. It's just I don't really have time for TV. But I wouldn't mind watching it. I don't know if I don't know if I'd be that person who would get like a 30-month trial and watch a couple episodes and be like, oh, I guess I don't have enough time for this. And then be like, maybe I'll come back once all this stuff's like cataloged.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, going to Titans for a second. The thing about that is, a lot of shows now, they take a minute to get rolling. I understand that, but when you have so much variety, you're like, oh no, it gets really good by
Season
episode
5.
6. Well, fuck that. I'm not rolling. I'm not rolling playing that game. But if you say something like, oh no, trust me, the show gets really good by episode 6. How long is each episode? Oh, like 45 minutes, and there's 15 episodes. Like, yeah, no, it should have got good. Like, maybe I can give them 1 or 2 episodes. Like, I'll be honest, I really liked Season 1 of Luke Cage, but Season 2, fuck, that was just dragging. That was really just dragging. I love Season 1.
That's kind of a bummer, because I never watched any of those, but that was always one that I'm like, if there was one I was going to watch, that would probably be it.
Season 1 of Luke Cage is really good. Season 2 of Daredevil is really good because he's in the red suit the whole time and it actually feels like Daredevil and he's actually doing a lot of crime fighting and Elektra's in there and they're fighting the Foot.
See,
so,
that sounds cool.
The hand.
Because the first season of Daredevil really kind of sucked. I mean, like, as a whole, like, there was moments that were badass, but as a whole, it was kind of just like nothing happened. It was just like boring. It was just like, you know what? If you shave this thing down to an hour and a half, maybe 2-hour long movie, it would be fantastic probably. But as a 10-hour long TV show, it's boring as fuck.
Like, I liked Season 1, but I felt that people were like sucking its dick a little too hard. And Season 2 felt like I was watching a superhero show and it felt like Daredevil. And yeah, there's some extra stuff in there, but you know, it was moving at a good pace. You could probably just jump right into Season 2. You know who Daredevil is, you know what he does.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
That's how I always felt. I always feel like I'm going to, one of these days, whenever I feel like there's free time, maybe like when we're retired, I would love.
We're not getting retirement.
We never, well, I don't expect anybody to pay for me, but it's one of those ones where it's like, it's that kind of thing where I wouldn't mind trying the Daredevil Season 2. I feel that one I might be able to jump in, because all the ones I've jumped into, like I didn't like Jessica Jones. Sadly, I didn't like The Punisher. And it's like, I love the actor, but it's just like,
Punisher dragged on.
God, it's just like, for something I like so much as The Punisher, to say I didn't like The Punisher just feels like blasphemy. But it's just one of those ones where it's just like, once again,
I like Jessica Jones. I like Season 1 of Jessica. I didn't like Iron Fist. I liked them all, Season 1s of all of them except Iron Fist. But Daredevil 2 is the best, probably, in my opinion.
I just wish somebody would make an abridged version of all those Marvel shows, just with like all the good stuff. Give me like the Dragon Ball Z abridged version now. And I think I would be totally like make me like a 2 hour, like an hour and a half to a 2 hour long movie of each one of those seasons, and I'll watch them all. Like, and I'll be down for it. I'll watch the Luke Cage, or not the Luke Cage, but the Iron Fist one in a 2 hour long version. You know, if that's the case. But it's all that filler in there. And this is one of the worst parts too, is with Netflix, is now shows that used to be 45 minutes, and that was already too long. Now they're like an hour long each. So it's like now you have like 30 minutes of filler instead of just like, 15 or 20 minutes of filler like in a show. And it's almost getting worse that like the more like almost like the Netflix thing is almost a worse idea than almost when they were on TV, oddly enough.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing, going back to like DC Universe thing for a second. One thing that has me worried about they're doing it on their own network is that's kind of what killed one of those. I mean, I'm not sure if that Star Trek show came back or they changed its format. Like, the only way you could watch this is we're going to show the first episode on CBS, and then you have to get the streaming service from CBS to watch the Star Trek. And then it's just like, all right, well, no one's going to want to get another fucking service, so your show's fucked. So go fuck yourself. And I kind of have a feeling that might happen with DC Universe, because there were only 2 shows for a fact that are coming out right now, Young Justice and Titans. Everyone's talking about how much they want to see Young Justice. Titans, though, they're like,
Well, here's it, because I've heard a lot of people talk really highly about the Titans. Like, there's a lot of excitement for it. The difference is like the CBS one, that Star Trek show was the only thing that was like selling it, and that Star Trek show talked about a show that was not very good right off the bat. Maybe it gets cool later on. It had cool special effects, but boy, that was really like boring. And in that first episode, that teaser episode, nothing fucking happened. Like, it literally did the thing like when something was about to happen, it's like go get the CBS app. So, and plus you had Orville come out at the same time, so I think that just blew that show just really out of the water real quick. But the DC app, the upside of that, though, is I feel like you actually do get a lot of stuff. For the person, like, unlike me and you, who own, like, everything, if you didn't own any of that stuff, that's a lot of content. You're getting comic books, you're getting movies and TV shows and animated series and animated movies. By that standard, that's a lot. I just think for the people like us who already have it all, it's like, oh, okay. My fear, though, is, are they going to do the thing where the DCU movies don't come out on, like, DVD anymore and you have to get the app for it?
Yeah.
That's my only kind of fear. Or maybe, and I hope they don't lock things into there. Or if they do something weird like, oh, guess what? The Justice League, Zack Snyder cut's coming out, but you can only watch it on the DCU app. I hope things like that don't happen. That's my only kind of
fear. Are they doing the Zack Snyder cut?
I keep hearing people talk about, like, Zack Snyder's put, like, 9 months of work into it, so it's a maybe still. But, like, if they're putting that much work into it, hopefully it does come out.
Yeah, well, hopefully that comes out, and hopefully Titans is good. I'm not one of these guys who's hoping it's going to suck. It just doesn't jump out to me. That being said, though, it's DC, and I always want DC to do good.
Yeah, so. I don't know. I almost feel like just getting the service just to support DC. I know that sounds like the most ultimate fanboy thing, but it's like, I just want DC to do well. I want to make sure that everybody's, that Scott Snyder and, Zack Snyder are both cushy at their own place.
This is like it's like you're like a fucking... It's like you're like a dad who's like, I just want to be supportive of my boy. I don't really like what he's going through. I don't like that he's, decided to become a male prostitute just for the money, not for the love, just for the money. But hey, I just want to be supportive however I can.
That's sort of how I feel. It's like, I want to just kind of do it, It's almost like, I like the joke that, like, Buddy always sort of has when it comes to, like, bands. He's like, like, there'll be a band that's probably, like, could really use my money and really could use it if I buy their album, things like that. But then it's like, well, then there's a new Kiss album coming out or a new Kiss product, and it's like, well, I think I got to get that new Kiss thing, Can't see Gene and Paul out on the street anytime soon.
You just want to look out for them,
God, if I don't look out for them, who will? But that in itself, I wouldn't mind just trying the app just to, like, see what it is, but it just feels like it'd almost be if they did the thing where they just released, like, right off the bat, they're like, guess what? We got we got Titans, we got Swamp Thing, we got that Harley Quinn show if anybody gives a fuck. We got...
Oh, yeah, there's a Swamp Thing coming out, isn't there?
Yeah, then there's like 5 shows that they, like, said, but who knows when they're all coming out. That's the kind of the thing. And they'll probably try to...
Harley Quinn animated show or whatever.
I don't think it's animated.
Kevin Smith
I thought it was live action still.
Kevin Smith working? I thought Kevin Smith said some more working on an animated Harley Quinn show. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. If Paul Dini does it, then I'd be down. If he's the writer behind it. But there was... God, what else was there? There was like 2 other ones. I'm drawing a blank on them. But it was kind of like... If they probably just had all that at once, maybe, and just like kind of stringed out episodes as like time went on, I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna play it by ear. I won't probably get it immediately because I already got like most of the DC stuff I want. Chances are, if some of the DC's coming out that's a movie or anything, chances are more than likely I'm probably gonna get it. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I just hope they don't try and do the thing like you said. Like I didn't even think about that. Like, oh, special. If you want to see the new DC animated movie, got to get it only on the streaming service because
that's my only fear is they're gonna try to use that stuff as like a come on to like get on there. Hopefully, the DVDs and Blu-rays and all that good stuff will still come out. But I mean, other than that, though, here's the thing: I could go on there and I could finally watch all the Batman episodes, and I could finish watching like the rest of like Brave and the Bold. Because those things are kind of expensive on DVD. They're not cheap, so that's kind of neat in itself. If they have them on there, I don't know if they see. That's the thing is I don't know if they have the entire catalog of everything DC. They only mentioned like a couple name drops, like the Wonder Woman TV show and Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah. No, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it comes out being good.
But it'll be cool.
I don't know if we could actually call this like a Batman Year One retrospect as much as Batman Year One and more DC stuff.
That's pretty much what it is. Batman. Well, it's like our 6-year anniversary. Batman Year One was kind of like it felt like a kind of a nice movie that like would work well. I know I wanted to do that Batman and the Mystery of Batwoman one, but I know that Blu-ray in movies just so hard to find. It's like I don't even know where you could pick it up. You probably have to go buy it on Amazon. I can't imagine where else you would find it at because I don't think it's on any of the streaming services.
I couldn't find it in any of the like local places around here. I know probably wouldn't come by in time, and even if it did come by, probably just get dropped on my doorstep and probably disappear.
Yeah, and then
like
some hobo would be like
fucking
it in the park later on because he didn't know what else to do with a Blu-ray. But
that's all they do. They just take the packages. They
find
fuck
holes.
That's
and
all
they
do.
them. But
well, there's a disc. I can fuck it, and I can throw it like a frisbee. Then I flip it over to my friend. He catches it. He fucks it.
Yeah.
Just fuck it back and forth.
It's called the frisbee fuck game.
There'll be three of us. So it's like shit. There's three of us. We pass it between. It's like a fuck Triforce.
Exactly. And then we put it back on the guy's doorstep when we don't want it anymore. Because we're nice hobos. But
we got our fill of it, yeah.
But yeah, that's a movie I'd like to do at some point because that's just kind of like a lost Batman one. But we still got a bunch more fun Batman movies to do, and But Batman Year One, just saying, like I thought that was a good like if there's a 6-year anniversary movie we can do that's kind of Batman related, that's the one. I kind of thought about doing Batman Begins as well as like another idea, but I'm like, because I'd tie it into that. But I'm like, yeah, Batman Year One will be a nice easy movie because it's only like a little over an hour. It's like a perfect length. They kind of make up for it because they got that Catwoman like 15-minute long movie in there too, so it's not like you felt like you got gypped by getting a little bit less of a full movie. But
and Begins like a 2 hour and a 2.5 hour movie, 2 hour and 20-minute movie, something like that.
So a little bit more commitment. I know we didn't even bring up Catwoman at all. We literally made this Batman Begins movie or Batman Year One like so manly. There's like a whole other story arc going on of like Catwoman, and it's like not even thought of. Like we didn't even come around to it. Not even a brief mention.
Well, the Catwoman thing, that's also one of those things where
that's a controversial one too of the time as well.
Well, yeah, because like you made Catwoman a hooker. I mean, we already knew she was a thief. You made her a hooker, and then that also like was one of those things that kind of erased and tried to pretend like it wasn't there. And I want to say it was even in. I might be wrong here. I want to say I'm going off my memory here. This might be wrong. I want to say in Tony King's run of Batman, there's a part where he and Catwoman are reminiscing about when they first met, and Batman's going off of Year One. Like, yeah, remember you were like all dressed up in like street clothes and you're coming at me? He's like, no, I wasn't. And then she's flashing back to something from like the 50s or the 60s when she's dressed all glamorous and a bit more classier. It's like, I was not dressed like a hooker. I was dressed like this. And that was just so conflicting memories. So I just thought, oh, that's kind of clever.
See, I like that kind of stuff because that's almost like how I feel Batman sort of is. It's like you take all the elements that you like and you craft your own Batman, and everybody's Batman's slightly different from the next. If you want, Catwoman to be a hooker, she can be a hooker. If you don't want her to be a hooker, she can be a thief. If you want her to be a villain, she can be a villain. If you want her to be an anti-hero, she can be an anti-hero. If you want her to be a superhero, she can be a superhero. That's kind of like what I like about Batman is you can take your characters and pick them like accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that one's like there because I will say like the Frank Miller one's more like, yeah, she's got a shaved head. She's played by Elijah Dushku. I know not the Frank Miller version, but you know what I mean. And, she's a hooker, but she protects hookers because that's who she is.
Hooker with a heart of gold who's gonna steal your shit.
You know, and I could see where that could, like, you could see in the 80s reading that being like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, if it's a character you look up to, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, especially now, if you did that now.
oh, you'd be asking for trouble nowadays.
I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, Raphael Albuquerque got so much shit for that Batgirl cover where Joker's behind her, drawing a smile across her face, and he has a gun pointed at her tit.
Yeah.
He got so much trouble for that shit. Like, hashtag change the cover. So you turn Catwoman into a hooker at this day and age. God, you're gonna get James Gunned so fucking quickly.
Yeah, poor James Gunn. I almost feel like not even watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Just be like, fuck Disney and fuck this. It's the PC movement that I just want to say, fuck those people. If you're a PC person, fuck you. You probably wouldn't listen to our show anyways, but fuck those people. Like, that is instantly turning me away from so many people's like views. If they have like a PC of any kind of view, I just want to say, fuck you, get out of here, get out of America. Fuck you.
Want to actually hear something that's even more fucked up about the James Gunn thing? It wasn't even somebody who was PC. They were just using PC shit against him.
Yeah, it was some like...
What that was is, it was some alt-right guy who posted things way more offensive than James Gunn posted. And just, to be fair, yeah, sure, maybe those texts were a little cringeworthy, but they were jokes from 10 years ago when the guy was working for Troma, an exploitation film company. And now, and they knew about this. They knew what he worked for. They saw his resume. They know he worked for a company. Maybe he didn't work on Poultrygeist, but they know he worked for a company where a dude fucking get a fucking ass view of like a guy shitting into a fucking toilet, and then where another part where a guy's fucking a dead chicken.
Well, I think he did like Return to Nukem High or one of those ones. Like
he did Tromeo and Juliet.
Yeah, Tromeo and Juliet. He did that one. That's the one.
And he did just a bunch of, like, I think little small things. Like, I think they had a small little, like, he worked on a bunch of movies. And then, you know, he wrote Slither.
Yeah.
And I think he directed Slither even. So it's like, you know, I mean, yeah, sure, maybe the jokes weren't funny and they weren't tasteful, but it's like, it's from 10 years ago and it's from a guy who worked in exploitation. And now you're going to get a guy from the alt-right who loves pushing the boundaries, and he's going to suddenly drag this shit up. And James Gunn already apologized for this shit like 2 or 3 years ago when they called him out on it for the first Guardians or the second Guardians. So it's like, now you choose to do this? And then I think one of the reasons why is, I'm not trying to get all Alex Jones here, but it's because Disney's trying to finalize their deal with acquiring Fox. And I think they're waiting for that deal to go through. So they're like, now's the perfect time. Boom, because he talks some shit on Trump. So now you got these assholes trying to get even with him for talking shit on their orange boy.
Yeah, it's literally one of those ones where it's just, I don't know, it's like, a lot of times I go, I thought we lived in America. I thought in America you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want. Even if you're saying stupid shit, that's your fucking right, is to say anything you want. And the idea to take that away, well, fuck, what do you want? You want us to all go to concentration camps or something next? Like, I don't know where, like, it's scary where these, like, PC people are, like, really leading the world. And the worst part, too, is they're the ones that own fucking mostly everything and have more power. And that's the creepy part of it all.
The thing about it is it's not even they own it, they view the next generation as being PC, so all these companies bend to that to try to make them, to please them.
Well, that's what I mean by owning it.
It's
like they have all these companies by the balls.
I mean, I think that if enough, what I liked is somebody tried to pull the same shit with Dan Harmon. Dan Harmon had like
is that why he came up in a hashtag just recently?
Maybe
it was like trending Dan Harmon, and I didn't click on it, but I was like, I wonder what that's about. Like, is he? Because I'm almost afraid to click those nowadays because it's just more like, oh, Dan Harmon like raped little boys in prison. You know, it's like what?
Well, it's close to that.
Oh.
Well, what he did is he had an idea for this show because, you know, the whole, I think it was when he had his Channel 101 where they would just propose ideas for shows that would never be made, and that's where a lot of the Justin Roiland Rick and Morty proto versions of that would come. The original, the thing that inspired Rick and Morty was a Back to the Future parody where like where Marty was sucking off Doc.
Yeah.
So
as internet
that's
you
the
could
whole.
Get.
Yeah, and they had a bunch of other things like that on Channel 101. And Dan Harmon started one where the idea was to stop serial killers, he would go back in time and find those serial killers as babies and fuck them, say they would grow up with no self-esteem so they wouldn't go out and kill anybody. So it said, like, they had him pantomiming, like, fucking like a doll or some shit like that. So, and that's like... And what's funny is, so some fucking asshole's like, what can I get? Yeah, well, they just got James Gunn. Maybe I'll go after Dan Harmon. Yeah. And they do that, and then it's just like, Adult Swim's, fuck off.
That's awesome. See, that's
We're Adult Swim. You think we give a shit?
At least Adult Swim's got more balls. I guess you could say Warner Bros. Got more balls than Disney for sure. That's definitely true. And maybe that's what Warner Brothers is living off. They're like, shit, that's all we got left is our fucking balls. You know what I mean? We can't compete with the Disney like powerhouse, but shit, we can at least stand true to our guns.
How long? Our real guns.
Yeah,
our James guns.
Our James guns. How
long before
you think? How
long before we hear about James Gunn directing a DC movie?
Oh, it might come by just to like be a slap in the face to like Disney, but I kid you not, that almost makes me not want to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I mean, like, or at least just like not pay to see it. I'll say that. I'll be that guy because it's like, fuck you, Disney. I'll show you where my money's not going.
Yeah, because he's one of the best ones they had there. So
It's just one of those ones.
I'm not as excited. I'm not as excited to see it now.
It just makes me so angry. It's like it's one of those ones I'm like, and it's like one of those things like you shouldn't get angry about. You should just like push it away and not even like think about it. But just like it happens so often that I just feel freedom is just being taken away from all of us fucking people in America just because of these little fucks that can like. It feels like you don't have to do much anymore. Like they like push the fucking envelope to get rid of something. And it's just like, no, fucking people should be able to say whatever the fuck they want. They should be able to use every single word in the dictionary, be able to do anything they fucking want to do. Because you know what? It's goddamn fucking America. That's the reason why. And you know what? Who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, as long as somebody's not like doing any like actual crimes, like violent crimes and things like that, and then stealing shit, let them do whatever they want. If they want to say the stupidest, most racist shit ever, you know what? That's their freedom. That's their right. You don't have to like it. But that's their right. And I don't think people get that anymore. I think I've come back to that thing where it's like, it's a goddamn Metal Gear Solid. We need the war economy to come back to teach these fucking PC fucks a little bit of goddamn respect. Because, I hate to be this way, but it's like, in World War II, you didn't feel like you had any of that problem afterwards. They fucking balled that shit up and went on with their lives.
Well, it's just like, they have PTSD. What a crying! They punched the crying out of you.
Yeah, that was how it was. You kept that PTSD to yourself.
No, but what was I going to say? There was,
They called it shell shock, too. It sounded more manly back then.
Wanda, I think that's, because for a while, I'm not going to lie, when we first started, not even when we first started the show, probably maybe a couple years back, I'm not going to lie, I was probably entertaining some more PC thoughts, because it's when a lot of the conversation was just coming up, and I was like, let me entertain the thought here for a second, kind of get behind this perspective. And that's the level of being like a super PC person, but to the level of like, okay, this and this, I get where you're coming from. This and this, I don't agree with it, but I understand what you're saying. And then you reach that point where people just push and push and push, like, all right. I can't, every time there's a little outrage, I'm not chemically capable of caring about this many fucking things. Every time there's somebody like, oh my god, Scarlett Johansson's playing a trans person in a movie now. Whenever, like, I can't keep up with it every day. It's something new every day, and there comes a boiling point where it's just like, don't care. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. And there are some things that are, important that I get, but a lot of it, I feel like this one might be not who knows, maybe I'm wrong. I thought this would actually simmer down and become a lot more calmer a lot sooner. I think this one, James Gunn getting fired, because nobody seems really that happy about it. I don't see that many people yahooing about this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people liked his movies, and a lot of people are coming out to his defense. I think this might be the point where people start to call bullshit. Especially since it's some alt-right shock value asshole who was using PC shit against him, the very shit they don't like.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. It's like, it's literally, he just used their own, like, weapons against themselves, almost in a sense, and created, like, this, like, vector of, like, just destruction. And it's just one of those ones. It just bothers me that like once again it comes back to the old. This all relates to fucking Batman Year One, because in Batman Year One it's all about being a man or being a woman and really just taking shit as is and not being a fucking pussy about it. Because Jim Gordon wasn't a fucking pussy. He kept working. If he was a fucking PC pussy, he would have just left Gotham after he got his ass whooped, and he would have never came back, and they would never have Jim Gordon. But since he's not a fucking PC, fucking wussy person, he stands up for the little guy. He knows what's right, and he does what he needs to be done. And that's what makes Jim Gordon fucking, all man.
Yep.
And if Jim Gordon was a woman, he'd be all woman.
Woman.
He'd be woman. And I think that's the thing. It kind of like, sometimes it's like one of those ones, like, sometimes I feel like you see like those, like, Frank Miller's good for like those 80s values. And there's something to be said about some of those ones. I mean, granted, there's some that might go a little bit out of control, but I think about being strong and, knowing who you are and being able to, like, handle yourself and not having to look for other people to fight your battles, not looking for other people to help pay for your, like, way and so on, and just doing things yourself. There is something to be said about that kind of old-fashioned mentality.
Yeah, this, just a weird age we live in, but I feel like it's gonna strain itself out pretty soon. I think people are getting pretty tired of a lot of this shit, So, anyway, but yeah, no, this movie, if you want to actually, because, kind of ended on a downer here, if you want something that's gonna lift your spirits up, watch this movie.
Well, yeah, because the upside of it is don't be a PC pussy. Be a Jim Gordon.
Don't go to the yard duty, which is what that bitch did. It says, Disney, did you see what James Gunn wrote? Did you see what James Gunn wrote?
Because here's the thing.
What did he write?
Yeah, at the end of the day, both...
What the fuck did he write? What did he write? James!
Yeah,
get the fuck over
here! You
here!
hear the whistle blow, and all shit's going down, but...
Yard duty Mickey's coming over to James.
Yeah, stop it.
James, what are you doing? What are you fucking doing, James?
And then she pulls out that, red little slip, starts signing it, tells James he's got to go to the principal's office. Principal of Disney.
Like, fuck you! Fuck you! I'm gonna go film Lobo with DC!
Yeah, exactly. Bring him on over. Just one of those ones. I just really hope this PC movement stops. I don't know what it's going to take. Probably World War III is the only realistic option anymore, but I think that's about it. We've come to this point where I don't know what else to do. I just don't know. There's too many people out there with unrealistic, and they just think of their emotions, and they have no real world experiences. I think we need to bring factories back that they can work in to build character.
I want to say, like, I don't remember what it was. It was some, like, some political Now This or some BuzzFeed video. Some played it for Joe Rogan, and he was watching it. He wasn't saying nothing. He's like, this thought process is someone who does not have to worry about catching food or surviving, or he's like, this is somebody who has it way too fucking easy if this is what you're mad about. Like, there's that video, like, don't say marijuana, it is racist.
Exactly. Well, see, and the worst part too, it's a lot of these, like, it's like I call them, like, almost like the dirty liberals, the people that really make that liberal like people that really make conservatives fucking hate liberals are these people that have, like, no real world experience. They hate on everything, just full of hate. They're just evil fucking people. They want to bring down everything. They're uneducated. They got no real world value. And they're useless as fuck. Like, if you dropped them on an island for, like, kung fu training, they'd be fucking dead. They would be fucking dead. They would be trying to look for a Starbucks, and they'd be fucking dead.
We're on an island. Only thing we could be here for. Well, what? Kung fu training? You didn't even know the fucking answer. Just grab his fucking heart out. That's one. All right.
And
who can do the 1-inch punch from Kill Bill? Who can do that? Yeah. You will by the time you're done here, bitch.
They'd be out there be like, oh, there's nobody that serves vegan food here. And they would fucking just die. You know what? Because they wouldn't eat a fucking insect. They wouldn't eat fucking fish. They wouldn't eat, any kind of eggs that they found because they're fucking retarded. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're just going to destroy the fucking environment that we live on because they have no fucking real world ideas. And that's the problem is people are taking these people's side. I think they used to get laughed at for so many years. And all of a sudden, these people, for some reason, have, like, a view. Like, in the old days, you would take this person out back, kick him the balls, slap around a couple times, and then they'd fucking learn a value, and you tell them to go get a job. But Nowadays, these are the people that have power, oddly enough. They're not power like physical or money powers. They just literally have like voice powers because the internet somehow, some way has filtered these, almost like fake hippie wannabe people to like put out their views. And it's sad really. You know what I mean? Because all the people are doing the right thing. Almost like the good hippies, I always say, and all the people doing what's right get kind of screwed over in the process while all these people are just like living off fucking welfare and shit and living off fucking government, amenities are the ones, that got enough free time to speak their mind in the wrong way. And I mean, once again, at the end of the day, we should all be able to speak our mind, even if it's fucking stupid. That's the American right. But that should not influence other people's stuff.
It all comes in waves.
I think so.
We just got done, and like I think whatever happens is there's a period where 8 years of Bush, you had people really pushing against Bush in a very liberal kind of way. Then we had Obama, and you had the right wing as being kind of like, I mean, they were really trying to push against Obama, even though he was kind of conservative in some ways, but not as, conservative as people wanted to be. But they still had a lot of pushback from Obama. Like, we had people go like, you know what, I just might leave this country. I don't like the idea of having a black president. So, I'm not a racist. I'm worried about my car when I park it at night now. Like those kind of assholes.
But you had the same people during the Bush administration, because remember, there's always those like liberal people like, I'm going to go to Canada because you know what, can't have Bush. Like, they just can't handle like a democracy of voting.
Well, it's always on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you had the area with Obama where you had like people like, we're going to start up the goddamn Tea Party, and then
that ship sunk. At some point,
that sunk.
It sunk,
real
and tea just floated out into the Atlantic, and we never saw it again.
Shorter than the actual Boston Tea Party. Yeah, it was pretty short. And then now we're at the point where, okay, now we got a right wing guy back in office. So now the people pushing against that are going to be extra loud. It seems like the people that are loudest are whoever pushing against whatever the mainstream is at the time. So. Yeah.
Well, we got a right-wing guy in there, but who technically was a left-wing guy his entire life, and still does more left-wing things probably than right-wing things. Oddly enough, it's a weird circumstance. I know you give me that.
I don't
look,
think he does.
But like I know that like for a lot of conservatives, it's like that guy. Well, I guess that's always how it is. It's like the hardcore liberal people always go like, Obama didn't do everything we want him to do, and it's like I think it's the same way. No matter what, nobody ever gets everything done. But,
no, they don't.
But it's just one of those ones where I think it's going to push back like really hard. And I think it's going to push back harder in a conservative view. Because I think the more that the PC builds up, I think that's not helping the liberal cause whatsoever. Yeah, I think that's really destroying it. Because I think it's turning a lot of like regular people just like their ship around being like, I don't want to be associated with any of these people whatsoever.
Yeah, but at the same time though, I mean... He was a registered Democrat for a long time, but I honestly think he's just a guy who just looked at like what people want. He just says
he's a business guy. He's just picking business.
He says whatever people want to say. Like when he's there with Putin's a wonderful guy. I don't think they had any kind of problems. I think Putin's our best friend. I, as a matter of fact, want to go to Putin's place tonight and have a sleepover. We're gonna watch Home Alone 2. I'm in that movie. Then you have him coming out to as soon as he's
Putin, they're like fucking like sharing a sleeping bag like with popcorn in the center and everything, watching Home Alone 2 like on a VHS tape.
Oh yeah, we ordered Little Caesars. And then
Putin's doing pull-ups in like the corner for like Trump.
With his shirt off.
Yeah, like 1, 2, like Trump's just counting. Oh, you're so sexy. Do another one. It just starts like licking the sweat off him. And like, oh my gosh, is this what Russia tastes like?
I want your Russian man sauce. And then as soon as he gets back to stateside, oh yeah, he totally had some involvement. You just said that he didn't have some involvement the other day. I said would when I said wouldn't. I get confused. So he's just some stupid fucking dope who's gonna say whatever he can to please whoever he's around. So, and he'll talk shit to, like far left people because it's easy to piss off far left people. And I wasn't trying to dog on Obama earlier. I mean, I like Obama, but I don't really trust any politician entirely because it's dirty business. You got to make shady deals. So if he didn't do everything he could have done, I kind of get that, but at the same time, it's just a weird fucking thing you got to do, and it's one of those things where I just don't. This guy's not that liberal to me, nor do I think he's that conservative. He's just some asshole think he's just who's out for himself.
Yeah, I just think he's a crazy businessman. At the end of the day, that's just what he is. Who just happened to like win a popularity contest.
What do I got to say to these stupid fucks to get them some jobs? You guys want some coal? Yeah, we need some coal. All right, I'm gonna bring the coal industry back. So it's like, oh, that's. All right, I thought that was all like done by a fucking machine. Okay, cool, coal industry back, I guess. Fuck.
Well, yeah, well, for example, if we didn't have some of like the shitty hippies back in the day, we'd actually have nuclear power. But go figure. So, yeah, and we wouldn't need the coal whatsoever if we had nuclear power. But due to a bunch of fucking, it's just terrible how it is really nowadays. It's like so many things. It's almost like I stopped wanting to think about it because I'm like literally like none of this stuff's ever gonna fucking change. Let's just stick with like comics and just like go away from the rest of the world and like
we came back to it though.
It's weird. It comes back around. But I think about that too because you know there's always those moments in life when you feel like you want to get slightly political and like I'm gonna do my part, like you're in fucking Starship Troopers or something like that. But then you just realize like as kind of goes on, you're like, and you hate to say it to be that person, be like, well, what does my part really count? I'm just one person. I know that like that's always like it's like it, but it's like sometimes at the end of the day, it's like. Is it better just to be fucking Ryu and just don't give a flying fuck about anything but yourself and just like hanging out in the woods and fucking training on your martial arts and shit?
Learn how to Hadouken if trouble comes your way.
Yeah, like a fucking deer's out there and you fucking Hadouken it and then that's what you eat for dinner. Like there's something to be said about that and just totally avoiding the world. Because I just feel like the system's it's like a train that just kind of keeps going and like they add parts to it and whether or not those parts work or not, it's whatever that's already on there and maybe we'll stick another one on top of it and you will kind of forget about the last one. So and
I'm not trying. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just feel like it's just I just feel like it only gets you frustrated when you think about real world kind of like issues and problems. And that's why I think like some people, it's like when they watch TV and so on, it's like, why do you fucking watch this TV? Like it only is going to make you angry. You're only going to be filled like false news. And are you going to do anything about it at the end of the day? Like if you're not going to do anything about it, like why pay attention? You know what I mean? If you're not going to go out there and do something, you're not going to run for Congress or do you know whatever the hell you want to do. Almost, I think it's best to become Ryu. You know?
Well,
not all of us can be Batman.
Yeah, we wish we could be Batman. It's hard to be Ryu still because I can't even be. I don't think Batman is as jacked as Ryu, but he's pretty in good shape still.
We can all be Casey Jones though.
Said, we can all be Casey Jones.
That's the key thing.
Wear a hockey mask and just go beat people with a hockey stick. I'll say this real quick. I wasn't trying to get all like political and tell people how to vote, but you know, like you see enough of this shit long enough, you just form an opinion every once in a while. You just got to vent it out. That being said, I feel like, you know, I don't really trust a lot of the political system, but I pay just enough attention so I know what to vote for when that all comes up. Still, you know, it's one of those things where I try to limit myself from watching it too much because I just reach this point like, why the fuck am I watching this? It just makes me angry. But you could be avoiding it and just find its way. It just fucking crawls into your ear like one of those fucking
yeah, you hear
it. I was almost said like one of those slugs from fucking from Slither to bring back to James Gunn, but they don't do that. They crawl in the mouth. What's the ones that crawl in your ear? I forgot. Was that that's the thing from Animorphs. That's what I'm thinking of.
There you go.
Animorphs, the fucking young adult series from the 90s where kids turn into animals because of aliens. And they're fighting slugs that went in people's ears.
Exactly. Things like that. I don't know. It is just one of those ones where, yeah, you hear these that's the thing. You just hear these tidbits, whether or not you're looking for them. It's like maybe it appears on a podcast. Like, I don't fucking watch TV, or somebody tells you it on the street or what have you. And it's just like, but sometimes I do kind of contemplate that. Like, is it best to be like involved with your politics and know what's going on and making the right vote and doing your American part? Or is it best just to go, fuck it, I'm out of here. Let's just go like hide in the woods and I'll pay my taxes, but that's about as far as I'm going, I guess.
I'll send the check via carrier pigeon.
Yeah, you know.
Or be like a hawk, like,
because, yeah, you know. We need like a Thanos to show up to like really get shit going. You need somebody like that who just fucking takes charge and makes decisions. But at the same time,
Thanos probably wouldn't have taken that. He's like, wait, you killed him for what? I mean, you fired him for what?
Yeah.
Really? That's what you fired him for? Okay, this has to happen. Snap.
Yeah, he gets shit done, you know. But, or, you know, if you got people like the Punisher, they get shit done. It's against the law, but they get
That's
shit
where
done.
Punisher is. That's where Frank Castle was like, I really wanted to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. You took that from me. Like, oh shit, that was my one escape. Like, oh Jesus Christ, oh shit.
It's all I had left after the war.
Oh fuck, Frank Castle's coming for me. What the fuck?
I would watch that if there was a Punisher movie that was all about Frank Castle fucking hunting down Mickey Mouse and the Disney Corporation. That was like what it was.
Tell that mother.
Made by Lionsgate.
Motherfucker, I'm ready. Tell that motherfucker to get ready. I want Beast and Goofy on the front fucking lines.
I mean, funny was like Mickey's like, does he fucking work for us? I thought we bought him. I thought he was working for us. He's gone rogue, sir. He's gone rogue. He's broken free from the Marvel wagon. I thought it was a fucking package deal. No, he's on his own now. He's back to Lionsgate.
Those motherfuckers. Well, it's him and Kick-Ass. Oh, I'm not fucking worried about Kick-Ass. Fuck that.
He got his ass kicked and that was it. Fuck him.
We got Frank fucking Castle coming for us. What the fuck?
Oh, that would be an awesome movie, but sometimes that's what you feel like. You feel like you just want these like Judge Dredd Punisher people to like exist in real life to like fix problems that like they don't have a pleasant way to fix them. It's just there's sometimes like there's the logic and the right way to do it, and you got to take the emotion out, and that's what Judge Dredd and Punisher are perfect for. Is just leaving the emotion behind.
I just love the idea that Frank's only outlet was a movie set in space about a raccoon in a tree. Like, that was his only thing. Like, there's the one thing that still brought joy to my life, aside from killing.
He just goes to bed. He's just got, like, a stuffed raccoon and a stuffed tree, like, he sleeps with.
He's like, I am Groot too.
Funny.
Don't take away his stuffed Rocket or his stuffed Groot.
Yeah.
He will have, like, flashbacks. It's like, he has a flashback of, like, trying to pull a baby out of a fire from a burning village in Nam.
Exactly. Well, those, like, Punisher war stories. But...
Or I guess Desert Storm, since we're updating it.
Yeah, and then now it's going to be in Desert Storm and so on. It keeps going on. But all kinds of... Here's the thing. At the end of the day, at least we still got good, fun movies and all kinds of stuff out there. So never...
Still got Batman.
Still got Batman. Still got all kinds of sweet video games and books and so on coming out. So never forget the good stuff. Because, damn it, there's going to be people that are going to want to take away your good shit from you. So if you see them, punch them in their fucking faces. And make sure they don't see your face. Because we live in a world where it just doesn't work out that way anymore. But still, punch them in their stupid fucking PC faces. Let them know that you're all man and all woman. And that you're going to stand for freedom. Because you live in goddamn fucking America. And if this happens in your other countries, do that too. Because you stand for freedom in whatever fuck country you are. If you're in Singapore, you stand for goddamn Singapore freedom. I don't know what that is, but you stand for it.
Stick by your James guns.
Yeah, exactly. Because if we don't stick to our guns, our James guns that is, who will?
Yeah.
So, and other than that though, check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, and more. If you want to help support the podcast, we'll put a little link to Batman Year One that you can get on DVD, Blu-ray, and whatever the hell else they got on before they all get locked away in the DCU app. We're never too sure, but till then, at least we might have our physical copies. But I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Be sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comics, animations, videos, and a whole lot more. You can easily support the show by buying something from one of our Amazon links on the website or in the show's description itself. Doesn't cost you a penny, but every single thing you buy from there just by using that link to take you to Amazon helps us out a bit. You can also really help the show out, though, by spreading the word the good old-fashioned way. And rate and review us on all the sites that you find this podcast. Anything from iTunes to Podbean to Newgrounds, YouTube, you name it. Any little bit helps. Give a sub and share it to your friends, family, any jamoke you see out on the street. You let them know about Old Man Orange Podcast. And be sure to check out the Old Man Orange comic book Pizza Boys on both Amazon and Comixology. Till then, we'll see you some other time.